Hey, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the stream, guys. All right, let's see what's going on. Goldie. Hey, what's up, Joe? Ali just flipped on gold. Yeah, we just... Oh, you're in a buy? All right. See the 5-minute over here. Ooh, nice. Look at this. You got like a fake out. You got a fake out over here. Little liquidity grab. A liquidity grab for price to move towards, you know, like 33.52. It's like a 39, 38 pip range over here. So we just need to break above these highs. This resistance point by 33.48. I think, you know, price can move up there. Got a nice little SMA confluence here as well. Actually, let me see how this would look. Yeah, that'll be solid. That'll be solid. Daily is bearish. It's down negative 0.67% though. So that's how I would play it. I'll play like probably a buy above here, stops below here, target these ranges. I think that would be not a bad idea. And then price can move up over there towards like, you know, 33.51, break even, then head on over to 33.52. Got a little bit of SMA speed bumps over here. We got a little speed bump. As price is starting to move up here, see it's filling up this range. Filling up this range. Let's go, Goldie. Let's go, Spartans.
Spartans! What is your profession?
There it is. There is the... Now it's just tapping at a dynamic. Nice tapping dynamic resistance over here. Gonna obviously have some sort of reactions. Where'd you get it though? You said hourly flip? Damn, so you got it like super early. That was really nice. Price already is gone now. Yeah, pretty nice. If you took it and you feel like this is an overtrade, I would already put my stops to break even because we're pretty close towards like, you know, 33.51 over here. 33.51. As if you feel like it's an overtrade and, you know, like you've already had a few trades, but this is pretty good. We're already by 65% now. We're here by 33.51 here. Oh, we just tapped into it. Man, awesome. Awesome. Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations to everybody who did not need their hand to be held in this trade and took it on their own accord. Well done. Well done. You're building confidence in yourself. That means that you know what you're doing. But at this point, man, this becomes like a risk-free trade. You know, we just tapped into like a break-even mark over here at 23 pips. But sir, that was so quick. Gotta be quick. You gotta know what you're doing. The market's not gonna wait for you. It's not gonna wait for you so you can get ready, so you can prepare your lot sizing. Well, let me just prepare my lot size. No, you gotta be ready, sir. You gotta be ready. Yeah, gee, there was a no bottom wick on the hourly just now. Asia low sweep fake out. I took the reversal. Risk-free trade. Risk-free trade. So this is really nice. We're getting the London Open volume over here. London Open volume for price to move up. Just like clockwork. You know, like when you're expecting these moves, sometimes you're not even on the chart for long. You know, sometimes I'm going to be on the chart for like 15 minutes. 15 minutes pre-London session, we get the move and we're done. So we don't waste time dilly-dallying over here, you know, when there's low volume. So we just come in usually when we're expecting some sort of action and then just take the trade. Yeah, I think it's really important to always pick those sessions where you see like actually moves are happening. I went the other way earlier for a swing. If it hits you 100%, I'll be stopped out. You're not taking in positions today, not ruin it? Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin it. I will focus more on these little pipper trades. You see, this is what I do when I'm not taking positions. I just pipper trade. And whenever I see something like this, I'm always building just more like it's just training, you know, sharpening the sword. Basically, you don't always gotta trade. Like I would say most profitable retail traders don't always feel the urgency to take a trade every day. Because the moment you feel that urgency, I mean, you could maybe get away with it, but it's more about just self-control, discipline, you know, it's more of that sort of thing. Oh wow, look at this, now it's breaking above. Just such a clean sweep this is. Such a clean sweep. Yeah, then I'm going to look at this and say, oh man, you know, I wish I took that trade. I wish I took that trade. Because you could see like we had already the liquidity grab here. Beautiful confluence. Dynamic support for our SMAs. Break above structure. Clean ranges. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than this, chat. I don't know. If this is not the simplest way of looking at markets, I don't know what is. I honestly don't know what is. I honestly don't know what is. Because there's not a lot. There's not a lot of analysis here. It's just more like reading candles. You can also see that we have an inverted right here. It's not the best looking inverted, but it's there. This is the right shoulder distribution now in that inverted for price to move up over here. So you see how beautiful that works as confluence. This little inversion over here. Inverted head and shoulders. Really nice. Because you can't trade it on its own. Right, whenever you trade head and shoulders on its own, you kind of you can miss the right shoulder. So the right shoulder could always come at a later time, and then, you know, first entry could be faked out. So it's quite important to just focus on first the entry model, and then use the rest of that as some kind of confluence. Awesome. I call the turtle soup model and bang bang. I don't know about no turtle soup, sir. Why would you eat a turtle soup? Do people actually eat turtle soup? Does that taste nice? See, price is moving here, but there's no structure. So if you want price to continue moving beyond this point, you need like some sort of structure, because this is a distribution right now. This is at 10% we're talking about, like people getting paid off, but it's not ready yet for the next round. Man, this is Freaky Friday here, you know? On Freaky Friday, we're always expecting some sort of crazy price action. If you look at yesterday's previous daily candle, looks like previous daily candle here closed like a doji, what do you call this? Yeah, like a bullish doji. A bullish doji. It's still respecting this area over here. It's like previously break and retest. So previous support now has become resistance on that. And now it's like moving more bearish than anything else. But you know, it's funny because yesterday everything was bearish. We still took a buy. It was an amazing buy. Today everything is bearish again. And you got to take a buy here. And you see, you can still get your counter trends to play out. That's why it's important not to overstimulate yourself with analysis. You know, a lot of us overstimulate ourselves. We overstimulate ourselves and we get like paranoid about the setups, and you know, it's not good. But you know, the thing is, if you came onto the charts a bit earlier, you would already had an entry. You'd have already had an entry. Your entry would have come literally right here. Stop loss below here. If this was like the time you're trading a bit earlier, you could have had this, man. This is like a double bomber clot. So we've already had this move and this re-entry up over here. And remember, chat, like this is not the first time we seeing this. Remember, there was just one time that gold had already come down, and then it did this. It was somewhere at the bottom, and then we caught it like somewhere like that. So we had already seen that one entry had already been playing out. Then we got in on our next one, and then that one played out, and then there was another setup that came in like this, and then that one played out. And then I think that day was like that. Then that one played out. And then there was one more around here. Remember that? Does anybody remember that? I'm actually curious if anybody remembers this. What I'm drawing over here. Do y'all remember that day? It's really important to remember these things. Yeah, and then this was the one that I left stream. I left stream on this one. And it was like a bomber club because that one gave a bit more drawdown. It wasn't as clean. There was a little bit more drawdown in there. And then it ended up playing out later. Actually, this one could have been a break even if you were if you're too quick on the management. You know, because it had already pulled up quite significantly, and then it came into entries. But then once it came to entries, it was ready to move at that point. So if you were really quick on the break even, then you could have broken even. And a similar situation like yesterday. Remember, I had that drawdown. If I was too quick on the break even, I should have broken even. But it was a very, very unique situation that we're in because we're getting another setup happening at the same time. But yeah, that was it. So far we've only had like a one entry. 1 and 3. I caught this trade with tight SL, R1 to 2.5. Remember, drink more water. Are you planning on putting a position this Freaky Friday? For me, it's safe to have a short position since this week is so bearish. I would have already... where's my banner over here? Let me put my Freaky Friday banner. Yeah, I would have already traded. I would be done for the day. If I was planning on trading today, I would have already been done for the day. This was a move. Because why would I have a playbook and have a time to trade and then get the setup and not trade? Why would I do that? You know? So if I was planning on trading, that would be the move. It's that simple. You gotta shop on the charts. You put in your work. The move would have been up here. You put in the work to create a playbook so you can follow it. So you can be lazy. You know, I really do enjoy making life very simple for myself. So having a playbook, it tells you come on at this time, take this entry model, just do that. Just do that. Hey Joshua, good morning, good morning. But my playbook is telling me Freaky Friday is for paper trades. Paper trades. If I've already had let's say I've already had a few trades in the week, I wouldn't feel the need to trade a Friday. If I haven't had trades in the week, let's say Monday I couldn't get trades, Tuesday for whatever reason, then yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then I would trade. You know, I'd be looking more for trades. But if the week has been active, then I feel less of a need for the Freaky Friday. That's how I do it. TP can be 60 or even 75-ish. TP is already done. You know, at this point, man, I would say I don't know what the market's going to do here. This is anybody's guess. You know, because we've already filled the range. It's already done what it needed to do. At least for me, you know. For me, it's just moved from here to here. So, yeah, now this is anybody's guess, you know. Because now we're at a resistance. You can see we're starting to already have some reactions. So this is like when you leave a runner, you just let the runner do all that heavy lifting for you. You don't even think about the trade anymore. So it's like you're less emotionally attached to the position. But if you get a trade like this, man, and then you see something like that, you get really emotional about the position. You gotta get really emotional. The more it comes down, let's say you're targeting something up here. Yeah, it can be quite annoying. Because, you know, the variables kind of change. It's quite interesting. The variables change. At this point, I think the best thing you can do is just break even. If you're planning on just holding the full position on its own, it will probably just be a break even. You know, because this is not the same setup anymore. This setup, for me, in my eyes, it's no longer the same move anymore. Some people will just leave their entries like this and just, you know, pray for the best. That that price, you know, might still come down. You gotta, you know, set and forget, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, that price can move up again. But I'm very cautious about my trades. I'm very cautious. Once we come into areas like this, yeah, I'd rather like to a BE over here. Because if you look at your trades, your really good trades never really come back down here. They will just keep going. They'll create maybe a support again and then just keep moving upwards. So why take that additional risk when that trade is right around the corner? You know, why have a winning day become a losing day just because, you know, now you're gonna ignore structure? You know, take profits are set based off of structure. They're not, at least for me, you know, they're not set based off of risk to reward. Because the market does not know this risk to reward thing. It doesn't understand what your risk to reward is, but it knows what structure is. It can look left, you know, like when you're crossing a road, you see now here, it's crossing the road and it's saying, okay, we got a resistance. We got a resistance. There's a bit of traffic over here. So, you know, I'm going to be a bit cautious now. I'm going to move a little bit slower. That's why I always say, chat, price action over emotional greed. It's mainly greed. If you ask me why most traders fail, it's due to greed. That's why the risk reward comes in. The risk reward is just a reflection of the greed that we have. But you know, the humble approach is to learn how to lose less. You gotta focus on losing less, it's more humble. You wanna focus on making more, it's more greedy. And you know, like you're gonna be paid for having good habits. Are you planning, let's see, I caught this trade with a tighter sell, very nice. Targeting PDH, no idea what that is. Where you want to take a trade? Nowhere. Are you planning on putting a position? Miss the move. I call the turtle soup model. Are you in a trade on gold? You can hold it from the range below. I mean, the people who got it from this area here, they got like a really nice bomber clot. Like this is a proper bomber clot.
Oh, God.
All the way from down over here. I mean, Joe got the flip. He got the flip. So it's literally right there. Wait, your entry was the swing entry model. Joe, you take it on the flip or the swing entry model? Because the actual entry for the swing entry model was the flip. It looks like it here, right at that point as well. So, you know, that's nice. And if you didn't, then, you know, it just goes to show how traders can take a similar entry, but we're getting in for like different reasons, correct? So I took it before the flip, but the idea is there. Yeah, it's still important because, you know, if you're looking at how these trades work, and that's what you're trying to catch, you know, profitable traders, we can safely say they're catching something like this, right? This is what you'd be expecting them to be doing, correct? So you'd want to be finding a system that can get you in the same room as the profitable traders. So it doesn't matter how you skin this goat. It doesn't matter how you catch it. As long as you are in the same proximity as them, you know, and you're avoiding all the whips. You know, we got some whips over here. You know, price came down, a little bit of a whip. This looks like a fake out situation that happened right over here. Break of the lows, start coming back upwards. Break of the highs, start skyrocketing up. But that was the move. That was a move for this London session open from here. Now you gotta sit on your hands. You gotta wait. Nice. We got BC drums in the chat. Got Jay Angel, Sir Josh, Tall Trader. Got Trading, Architect. Here at Freaky Friday. Brian in the chat, Mr. Rashid. Let's go, guys. Titus. The Doctor. I had to increase the caps because of Tall Trader's name. Your name is all capital. So when somebody @s you, then Nightbot says, puts them in a timeout. So I had to increase the characters. Let us get it. Yes. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Nightbot thought people were excessive capital. Tall Trader bending the rules. That's quite interesting. I did not know the moderation would also take people's names like that. If this is not Freaky Friday, oh, look at this. Derek here caught it. Derek caught it. He caught the bomber clot. Paying attention. Paying attention, paying attention. Oh, wow, this gold. This was already today. I didn't even see this. They're important not to be greedy. Yeah, look at how precise this is. Look at how precise this is. You know? Can't make this up. Price broke below structure. Clean the range down towards, 30, 33.46 over here. Beautiful reaction. Sniper exits. Because like what we said is, past this point, we don't know what's going to happen. This is where the roadmap ends. And now you're going to be off trail at this point. Once it breaks this area, because this area is like a magnet, right? This is where the trail ends. So if you want to go off trail, you gotta have like a good plan, You gotta have a good plan. But you're not gonna go off trail wishfully thinking that everything's gonna be alright and price can move through here. Because there's nothing on this side that price can use for structure that it can move down. Unless you can talk yourself into it and say, oh, but what about the higher time frame, Vic? What about that 4-hour level right here? Yeah, what about it though? Because you're trading the lower time frames. You gotta stick on your lane. You can't be in everybody's lane. Let the higher time frame traders trade the higher time frame. You gotta stay in your lane. So the good thing about lower time frames is we get really tight stops, but you have to be more cautious when areas get tapped into. You gotta be very cautious because your trades are probably gonna last maybe like within an hour. You're gonna be out of your trade. So I see this trade already here was like 5, 10, 50, about like 15 minutes roughly, maybe less. Yeah, it's pretty nice here. Got some 2 W's on Freaky. It's crazy how the beautiful setups coming here on Freaky Friday. And Monday was kind of like, I think Monday, Tuesday, beginning of the week could have been better. Yesterday, we had the USD bank holiday. The 65% there mark was met, then rejected. Yesterday, we had the USD bank holiday. I'm not sure a lot of people are trading. But let's look at the price action. Let's see what happened yesterday. I haven't looked at the price action myself. Usually, I'm looking at price action on a higher time frame for the most part when I'm on stream like this. So I haven't seen what gold had did yesterday. I had not seen what gold had did yesterday. This is a gold short position, very clean. This is a 1 minute. Paper trading this. TP1, 1 to 2 RR, close 90%. SL to BE. There's 5-minute play here, look clean. This is on BTC over here. Alright, that looks nice. Yeah, I'll take this. I'll take this trade. My stop loss would be tighter though. It would just be above this resistance because I'm trading this area. Then break of these lows. Yeah, really nice. Down for today. 2 W's. Just watch you in the stream while doing other things, Vic. Awesome. Yeah, those are 2 awesome trades. Morning, everyone. How are we all doing on Freaky Friday? Hey, good morning, Sandile. Sandile, do you know this guy? Sandile Chezi. I used to kind of like find him quite inspiration. It's this kid in South Africa. He grew up in the townships, and he became really, really good at trading. And he was kind of one of those stories where somebody moves from poverty to, you know, crazy lifestyle. I usually do single words. I try to get in contact with him once as well. I remember this when I was still learning how to trade. I was trying to get him to like video call, but it didn't work out. But I remember that day I was so nervous, super nervous. Low confidence, you know, you're getting your ass kicked in the market, and it's kind of a stressful time to be in, but it's beautiful, man. You gotta enjoy the journey. What's up, Sito? I usually do single words and caps mostly. We'll adjust that, thanks. Yeah, you could do with single words. I think you'll get away with single words. See, like Waza here got away with it. The moment I stop running after a missed position and removing my greed, that is where I start to profit. Exactly. That is where you're gonna profit. When you don't chase something, you're always gonna get the better price, the better value for it. I always like to think of compare trading like I'm not gambling, sorry. What is that word? Haggling. Or when you're trying to get lower prices on the street. It's like if you're willing to walk away, then and you know the game, then you always get the best value. You know, the playbook for me when it comes to haggling is dividing it by 5. Always divide the price by 5. And it depends on where I am and what the situation is. Maybe even go a little bit higher up. But if you divide it by 5, you're probably getting a lot closer to a fair price. And then, yeah, I think it's nice. Let's start there. So I'll tell you this costs $100. I'll tell you no, sir, it costs $20. And then we can start from there. Trust me, like in some of these touristic places, they will charge you crazy amounts all across the world, you know. Always trying to 5x because it's not enough, you know. They get greedy. These types of situations, people get greedy. They try 5x. Some people are crazy to go 10x. So you gotta know the game, and then you gotta be patient enough to play it. Inverted setups are going to trick me. This looks like it wants to potentially come down here. It's like a 44.5 pip range. Y'all ever seen those stories of people who go on holiday to these islands and they're gonna have like a meal? They're gonna order like a normal meal, and in the end, the guy at the restaurants could say like, "Oh, you owe us." They could even say, "What, like $500?" Let's say you ordered like chips and a burger or something like that. Then they're gonna say you owe us like $500, and they do this illegally, you know, and the police can't really do anything about it. It's so messed up. So, you know, a lot of y'all are on vacation right now, and a lot of people going on vacation. Just be safe out there. What do you prefer, raw spreads or zero commissions? I would like the tightest and lowest. I would like the lowest commissions and tightest spreads. That's what I would prefer. Because I think for people who are more like scalpers, like day traders, we kind of like prefer more tighter spreads, to be honest. But you know, the ranges have been really nice. It also depends on the way you trade anyway, because even if you have a 2 pip spread, this is a 37 pip range, so it's not such a big deal. Vic, how do you establish your SL? If SL is almost hit, what do you do? Do you move your SL? Even you know that moving it will save your SL? No, I never touch the SL. I never touch the SL. You're gonna leave the SL. You don't want to mismanage the SL. So what I'll do is I'll just wait for structure to first build before moving the SL. Because the market knows that people move the SL quite quickly. So for example, let's say if this trade breaks here, then it's going to quickly move up like this. It can quickly move up like this. You know, and that can scare you. You can mismanage the SL. Next candle can break the previous highs. And then the next candle all of a sudden does something like this. The SL placement is very important. Like, I've already misplaced the SL once this week. I did backtesting yesterday because I didn't really understand what was going on. So I did some backtesting. I actually misplaced my SL on a... what was that? Tuesday. Yeah, there was a trade on Tuesday. I misplaced my SL, but that would have been a break-even trade then. But yeah, I'm actually looking to see what's going to happen here. Because I'm expecting that since we're breaking these lows, you know, that price can move down. And you also got some SMA confluence here. So I'm just watching to see what's going to happen now. Daily candlestick is down negative 0.60% as well. It's on the 30-minute. Definitely, we've broken some levels of structure. Market does look like it might want to shift. But if you're looking at the HTF, we haven't broken any key levels of structure there on the higher time frames. You know, at least if you take it one step above, you got resistance up over here. And you got a support level down over here. And let's go onto our forex factory. We got Bank of Japan governor is going to be speaking. Or rather, he is speaking, I believe. Oh, he just finished speaking, God knows. But anyway, that should be affecting the yen. This should be affecting the yen. But besides from that, we don't have anything else. We got some orange folders over here now. So this is not really important. So you're pretty much in the clear, chat. If you all just want to trade PA, then it's a really good day to trade price action. And what I think is maybe price will consolidate. We'll break into a range, or rather we have broken into a range because we're not really trending. You know, when you look at something like this, you gotta ask yourself, does that look like it's trending to you? You know, we can clearly see the market is just moving sideways, correct? For the most part, just moving sideways. So what I think is we're just gonna play this range. You know, maybe it's breaking this structure here. It's gonna come down, fill that 5-minute range that we currently see. And it's gonna be resistance. There's gonna be the support. Probably just bounce around these areas for now. But the good thing about the sell is it's with the daily trend at least. Because the daily looks nasty to come down still. There's still a bit of space over here. You have about like 178 more pips until that support. It's coming close to the 65% mark as well. There's definitely room for that daily to re-break its lows to continue pushing down. It's got a tiny little baby top wick over here. Tiny little baby top wick. Do you see any buys on GJ right now? Seems is flipping. Yeah, GJ is doing similar thing that gold just did right now. It looks like a similar setup that has reduced risk. So you could imagine that somebody has taken a buy here. Stop loss is below here, about like 19.5 pips. They're aiming for price to move up. And now they've reduced it from 19.5 pips to about 11 or 12.5, somewhere around here. That's how much they've reduced their stop loss. But yeah, it looks like GJ should move up. GJ looks good to move up here towards resistance by 195.974. That's what I would be expecting from GJ to do. Got inverted head and shoulders in there. I think that looks pretty nice. That's what I would expect from GJ. And I as well as just expect gold to move down. So, you know, we're just reading price action over here. You know, we're not speculating. We're not guessing. We're just reading what the price is saying. And it's all about how you're going to execute and how you're going to build a plan so you don't become greedy in the market. Correct? Because, you know, you're going to get to a point where you can read charts like this and you can call these moves out. But then you're going to have to cultivate discipline to not feel the need to always trade. But you see, some people don't have this discipline. It takes time. You know how crazy important that discipline is? Discipline is so important that now it's like there's a new policy change on social media that there needs to be more disclaimers when it comes to content that kind of resembles, you know, risk, because people are not disciplined enough to control themselves. You know, people are not disciplined enough to control themselves. That's how important discipline is. And you know, now it's affecting like a lot of things. I saw a meme channel. If you all know trading memes, it's one of the biggest trading meme channels. And even that guy needs to put disclaimers. I saw he put a disclaimer on his freaking post. Man, it's a meme. It's a meme. And he needs to put a disclaimer on the post because people are not disciplined. They're gonna see something like this and then they're gonna think like, oh, you know, maybe I can do that as well, or something like that. Man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But I think the channel should be good now, guys. Like, I got everything all set up properly. It's also nice to put the disclaimers. I have nothing against them. I think it actually fosters a healthy community here as well, just to be more transparent with people. So yeah, I think that aspect of it is good. But it just proves to show that you can achieve anything in life with discipline, you know? That's how undisciplined people are. So you gotta wonder to yourself, then what's on the other side of discipline? Does previous day high/low concept work on gold? Previous day high/low, no idea. I don't do previous day high/low. But you know what we do is, like, if the daily time frame, let's say, doesn't have a bottom wick. We had a trade like this last week. Daily was pushing up. It didn't have a bottom wick. We spotted that and then it came down like this. And you can catch some pretty nice trades that way. So that's what we mainly focus on, is the wicks. So you're going to see most of the candles, I would say maybe 70 to 80% of them have a top and a bottom wick. So it can give you like a really nice opportunity. Really nice. You get your entries here on the lower time frames and then you can target that area like a magnet. So it looks like so far there's no shock in the water, guys. The pool looks good to swim in here because I don't think I'm seeing any sort of struggle for price again to move down towards 33.45 over here. But it goes in huge drawdown first. When it starts to go my direction, I close quickly and it just goes. You have to look at that scenario and say to yourself, where does it make the most sense to manage my trades? Because if you find yourself closing too quickly, it might be because you're reacting more emotionally more than anything else. It's more emotional trading that you're doing. Because you shouldn't react. Like, the key levels, wherever you put your stop loss, should be respected. Like, it should be respected. Correct? It should be respected if the trade is valid. Yeah, this was Tuesday's PM. This is the one that I was talking about that I mismanaged this trade. This was There was like a break over here. My stop should have actually been above this area. You know, I always stop the bleed. Whenever I see I take a losing trade, I really think about that until the point where I'm sure 100% that I follow my rules. So stop should have actually been above here. Should have been above here because the range was big enough. You know, we had a much bigger range. So we could have given this trade more breathing room. I think I tightened it too much when I did it here. Because I thought, man, maybe this is going to be just good enough. But the range was definitely big enough to take that area, that whole zone. Because you see, the price action, it shouldn't break. Like if the trade is valid to some extent, you know, the market's not always out to get you. It will just test you. It will test your emotions. It will test your discipline, you know, give you in a situation like this. And then maybe come down and say, okay, you know what? Just build a little bit of character for you there, buddy. So let me just come out here and give you a chance to get out. So thing. And you can see it came right to the 65% mark as well. Right over here. Look at that. Come on, guys. Can't make this shit up. It's too accurate. It's too accurate for us to be making anything here. Anything up. So, you know, like that's a beautiful thing about a mechanical plan is like you really start to see the patterns in the way price behaves. So you see it, that should have been a break-even trade. I would have probably gotten it out right here anyway. But if I held it, you know, it would have still tapped like around, you know, 33.75 over there. But in the end, the outcome would still have been a break-even. But, you know, the important thing is that the market, you're reading from a different angle over here. You're going to see it like, it will test you. It will build your character. It'll put you in drawdown. It will make sure that you know what you're doing. And then it will like give you some release. Not all the time, but it's not always out to get you. That's what I mean. Oh, coming down. Can we still continue to push down here? Oh, nice. So 65% has been hit. 65% has been hit. If you push the sell, that's all you. That's all you. Had nothing to do with the trade if you took a sell over here. If you took a buy here and you took a sell here and you got two profitable trades, that's all you, man. That's all you. We just kind of guided a bit, but that's all you. Because, you know, you got to have still the confidence to execute, even with the analysis. So, yeah, this is pretty nice. This is pretty nice. 1, 2. Freaky Friday off to a pretty good start here. And no shocks in the water. Actually, in this whole time span, there's been 3 setups. From if you're going to count from this time over here. It's been 3 setups and it's just been about an hour. 3 setups at an hour's time. Crazy. Since the first one right down over here. Second one here. Third one here. Very nice. Man, if I knew what I knew now, when I was trading as a novice trader, I would be over trading like crazy. I think the thing that would come next for me would be to manage not over trading. The thing that would come next for me would be to learn how to treat more like a business and take less trades and maybe sort of figure out a way that I can maximize my profits. That would be the next thing. Once you get the foundation, the psychology work comes in next. And you know, the thing with the foundation is once you build it, you never have to go back to it, correct? But with the psychology, you always have to make sure that you are watching your psychology. You're seeing how you are performing on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. Because, you know, they say repetition makes perfect, but I disagree with that. I think self-reflection makes perfect. You know, it's not repetition, because you can repeat the same thing and get the same dumb shit results you're getting because you're doing dumb shit trades, or you could self-reflect. You know, once you start to self-reflect, that makes perfection. And it's a never-ending process. Because, you know, they say perfection doesn't exist anyway. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's like a never-ending process. Always trying to make sure that you got your psychology in check. Because, you know, you can build Rome. It takes such a long time to build Rome. But you can tear it down in a day. You know, you could be disciplined for like 6 months and blow everything, or like risk 3 months of profits in a day if you tilt. So that's quite important. I see the models just need to scale up. But sometimes we need to match it with the timing. Yeah, you got to look at the market and say, if this is a time that you're free to trade, then you got to match it up with the way price behaves during that time. What about repeating self-reflection? Yeah, of course. You got to self-reflect. That's repetition. You always still got to do it. It's not practice. You're not just practicing the same thing over and over again. You know, they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But if you're fluid, if you can flow with the market, you can flow with your performance, you know, then you get better results than just banging your head. You know, a lot of people bang their head on strategies that really want to work. That's why you have such a... That's why you have the whole trading community here. They're all following the biggest community. So they'll find the biggest community, which I think is ICT, and everybody there will just bang their head trying to make something that might not work for them. So they're just saying, oh man, I need more practice. I need to keep doing it. But they're forgetting the self-reflection part. You can't trade exactly like that guy. You have to find a way that you can trade for yourself. The concepts are too good, Vic. Sometimes I don't believe it, but it's what it is. Profit is profit. Yes. Yeah, Derek has been slaughtering here. This is another paper trade. This is exactly how that I would have played this. Stops above here, break of structure. Really nice. Because if you put it here, this is a bit too tight. Again, like this candle could have taken that high and then continued to come down. So yeah, perfect stop loss placement. Amazing, man. Derek caught all the moves. Buys here. You're in distribution here, so you ignored this one. And paper trade sells. Paper trade sells. Oh, this GJ. GJ. This is also a good trade. And GJ has moved up now. So you can see with GJ here, it's also filled up the range. Look at this. So how many setups have that been now, chat? How many setups have we seen play out? We've seen one play out here, 2, 3, and 4 here on GJ. Can't make this up. Everything is all part of the rules. You know, when you get that mechanical plan, you can hold yourself accountable. If you don't have a mechanical plan, then, you know, it's easy for anybody to say, oh, but you're just calling it a hindsight. Yeah, I mean, looks like that to you, but it's because I got the playbook. You don't. You know, but it's a very simple concept to understand. Very simple. So now we've seen that GJ has moved. So for GJ to continue moving up bullish, we still need to create structure and break above a 196.045 over here. Then you're going to have a range of like, you know, 25.5 pips. 25.25 pips. Derek has been killing it lately. Yeah, very nice. You know, clean setup. So when you see a chart like this, I like to take pride in my chart work. You know, you're going to have clean charts. You don't have to have anything too hectic on there. The Fibonacci is a tool. Price action is king. And once you get that concept, it's just about rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, self-reflect, rinse and repeat, self-reflect. Got some dubs. So yeah, I would say with the GJ move, that's already pretty much done here. Because it's filled up. It's filled a majority of this range on the left-hand side. So the safer option, you see how we always have a reaction right here? The safer option will definitely be to put your stops to break even. Because look, if you're expecting a runner, if you're expecting a bumper club, if GJ for whatever reason was to just continue moving up, this is a whole range that it can correct. If it just starts pushing up for whatever reason, that would be the next area. So you go here to here and then here to here. It's a beautiful, amazing runner. We'll try cover some of these concepts on the weekend, chat. I scheduled a simulation so we can do a little sim. On Sunday. Iman Trading. Expose him as a fake guru. Who's that? Will it be another Bombaclat 2 range and 1 distribution for DJ? It could be. But the thing with GJ is you see, it's like the markets never, your runners most of the time are not going to run. Majority of the time. So with GJ, this is preferably, you know, GJ doesn't have that type of, it doesn't give me that same feeling like gold. Gold has so much volume. You see how sometimes you get gold just pop up? Gold just has these crazy fast moves. But with GJ, it's kind of more gradual. So it's come down here to retest. It's not yet taking the buyers out from previously. They're still down over here. It's got to survive that. I think it's a SMA which is coming in, which is kind of holding it up a bit more. 5 minute just opened without a bottom wick over there too. Goldie has tried to remove the sellers here. That's if you know what you can sometimes expect from the market is something like this, then the candlestick will now dump. Correct? And when you look back at it in hindsight, you're gonna see, okay, so this is the reason that it came up like here, so it can make sure it removes anybody. Here, maybe with spread, you know, sometimes spread can get people out and, you know, they get scared or something like this. And then the market does something like that. So whenever you put your stops to break even, you want to be sure that it is rejecting and really pushing against you. Because it's pretty soon. This is pretty soon over here. Like, there's not enough space. You know what I mean? Like, the candles need to move. This is only about like 38 pips. It's a different story if the candle was, let's say, had already pushed all the way down over here. Then yeah, definitely there's really no point for it to even come all the way back up. Here. Yeah, that's the sell move. That's it. 65% tapped and smashed. If you leave a runner, just let's see what happens. Because it's the same thing that happened here. Right? We know it moved from here to here, but we don't know what happens next. We know it moved from here, hit 65%, close to support, but we don't know what happens next. That's where the playbook ends. Unless you get a really nice confluence. You know, sometimes you're going to get macro events and markets are trending heavily. And you got really nice fundamentals and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to take the drawdown because it's going to be a good trade. Because you're trading with the macros and it's very like, it's very intentional. When you get macros and direction, markets are very intentional towards a certain direction. And you got to be like, okay, you know what, that makes sense. I can take the additional risk. Or if the structure just looks freaking amazing, you know, you're going to look at the higher time frames and to you, it just looks like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, the best example I can give of that is sometimes you're going to see markets, let's say pre-London session, they're going to have a consolidation and you just know like, man, if we break this consolidation, we're just going to dump. You know, the specific times in the market like that, where you just know that volume is about to come in. Now you have paid plan on TradingView. Would you recommend backtesting on TradingView or SoftwareFX? I would recommend backtesting on TradingView in terms of self-reflection on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. And SoftwareFX is just more like in-depth. So you got to kind of use both because SoftwareFX takes a lot more to set up. It's not as comfortable, in my opinion, to do it like on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So that's what I'll use TradingView for. And then SoftwareFX is just for in-depth. So, you know, SoftwareFX is really good to practice it's good for training your reactions and your execution speeds and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's what's really nice. Is you can do it there quite nicely and you can manage your risk, open positions, close positions, have the history. Because you see like moves like this, look at how quick these moves are. I mean, you could technically do it on TradingView as well. For the most part, I always use TradingView. I only ever use TradingView. I never used Software FX. I knew about the simulator, but for me, it was too overwhelming. You know, when I looked at that simulator and I saw people doing simulations, I was like, wow, this is taking too much effort, you know? So that's why I really love TradingView. And let's see how far back we can go. Let's see on the 5 minute. You got quite a lot of data over here. You don't want to go too far back. So this is where it starts. The crown. Power up your plan. Your plan only sees 10,000 bars. Go further back in time by upgrading your plan today. Okay, so you can even upgrade the plan. So I got 10,000 bars. Ultimate 40,000, 25,000, 20,000. So yeah, I guess it depends on what you need. Software FX definitely lets you know the position and how it's gonna look. TradingView is just a lot more smoother, a lot more refined. So this is until Sunday, April. This is April 27th. Which I think, you know, is pretty nice. April? Wait, what is this? Just about like a month or so. It's not enough. Definitely, like, I'll get a bigger plan so I can go more back if I just use TradingView. April 27th. So you got the whole of May and up until now. So it's like, what, a month and a half? Month and a half or so. It would most likely help sharpen my skills. Yes. I want to use the replay feature, but you need to pay. Software FX you don't need to pay though. It's a free software. That's a good thing. But you can only take like 5 trades on the free software. You pay $100. If you pay $100, then it's a lifetime subscription on that. I love TradingView. Yeah, what would we do without TradingView, guys? It's nice company. See, it's struggling here. It's struggling a bit. That could be potentially another right shoulder. You know, you had this one here. But as you're looking back at it, you can also anticipate that being a right shoulder and volume coming. Oh, wow. This might even be... This is crazy. Why is Freaky Friday giving so many opportunities? So many opportunities here. Sometimes, man, we wait for like 1.5 hours just to get one opportunity. In this 1 hour, we've seen, well, from down here, 1, 2, 3. From the open, 1, 2. This could be a third opportunity here. Break above resistance. Continue moving bullish over here. Then that would mean there'll be 1, 2, 3. From the London Open, that would be the third potential move for price to move up here. Then you had GJ as well. You see GJ is reacting off 65. And now look at this. Gold is reacting off 65. Yeah, it's pretty nice. We're getting price being respected here to the T. What's that RR? To the resistance, it's 0.58. But, you know, you never know how far the market's going to push. That's the thing. Like also here, you know, to the resistance, but market can still keep pushing through those levels. The thing is, you just want to be cautious, you know. You don't want to disregard the structure here. Just because it's not fitting your greedy needs. Just because you're greedy, you know, it doesn't mean you need to now disrespect everything. Because what's the point of doing all this analysis than just to do something like that? You know, it could work out, no doubt. It could work out, but it's not what the structure is saying though. You know, if it breaks and it breaks, awesome. If it breaks and it comes back into drawdown, you know, you're taking additional risk. Just so you know that the risk that you're taking additional risk. If it comes towards like 33.51. I guess if you know that you're taking that additional risk, then it's fine. Moves came all the way from pre-London. Yes. Pre-London, man, that was really nice. I love these fake out confluences. You know, like even for the first one down over here, you got a candlestick body confluence as a fake out as it broke these highs. And for the second one here, you got a liquidity grab confluence as it broke these lows with a wick. This was the candlestick bodies as it broke these highs. This was the wick as it broke these highs. So every time you see that little liquidity situation, then it makes you feel good about the trade. It makes you feel like, yeah, we're probably just grabbing orders. You know, probably just grabbing orders. I don't know if we got any here. Maybe you could assume that that was one right here because it just slightly broke above these highs. And then as a break of the lows, stop loss above here. Vic, I put my questions for AUD, USD. If you don't mind, want to know your thoughts on it. AUD, USD. Hey Vic, what do you think on this? Is it because of a wrong timing? Even irrespective of the 65%, by the way, just paper trade and see on other pairs. This is CMC markets. All right, let me look at your other charts here. So why you not just use FXCM? You're using FXCM on gold. Why not just use FXCM here on Australian dollar, US dollar? Because I'm seeing like a few gaps. Like the price here looks a bit weird. There's a few gaps in there. Because sometimes the broker, like for example this, if you go on IC markets, you might even get a completely different structure here. So if it looks the same on FXCM and you took a buy here, what I would say is the reason this was a losing trade is because you did not have a support. You took a buy without a support because this candle was still open when it was breaking these highs and a new lower low was formed. So because a new lower low was formed, there was no support. Oh wait, let me see. Wait a second. Yeah, there was no support. This is a new lower low that was formed. I know this looks good and I see where you're coming from, but this is a new lower low. So this has been taken out already, theoretically speaking. Because if you put a line graph, it's just going to show you this. It's going to show you a new lower low that was formed over there. You know, the wicks are just the wicks. You're going to have wicks behave very differently. On brokers, you might have a longer wick. On different brokers, you know, you're going to have all sorts of different size wicks. But the candles and where they close is it holds a little bit more weight. So that's what I would say. Your entry should actually be at the break of these highs. So if you took a buy here, then your stop would have been down here. Because now you got a support. Because this support was already taken out. You know, so that would be your new support. So you've been patient. Wait for the candlestick to close. Create a support. Then put your stop loss below here. Wait for the break, but it didn't break. Came down. Create a new support. Get a break. Boom. Up towards 65. Winning trade. So that should have actually been a winning trade. It's just that the market gave you a character building moment there to test your speed and reasoning. Because you know what happens is when the market moves quickly, it's going to test you. You know, sometimes you overlook things. It's so easy to overlook things. And the way that the candlesticks are printing, they can print quite quickly. And then you kind of like react too fast. You react too fast. So what that can look like is even sometimes the candle here can be bearish and then flip in the last few seconds, flip back up bullish. And you know, those little last minute moves really mess with you. Then, you know, it happens to me sometimes, and then you gotta like sit in your position and really second guess yourself and ask yourself like whether it's really correct. And then sometimes you catch yourself just in time to realize that you've been pushed into the trade. So it's another psychological thing that the market does. So it's good to always second guess yourself, have that playbook right next to you. Please, what platform are people sharing the setups with you? That's Discord. So links in the description. This is a free community here. What is Goldie gonna do next? GJ has come down. That's why I said that risk reward thing sometimes can mess you up. It'll mess you up because you're gonna have most of the time profitable trades becoming losing trades. So imagine if you got already a pretty nice hit rate. How many of those trades could you have secured profits? And then you're gonna be taking these losses. You gotta have secured something here. Because the range is already done. People, I think like sometimes when people don't understand, they talk out of their ass sometimes, you know? When they don't understand things, they're gonna say, oh, but that's not enough RR for me. That's like talking out of your ass, you know? It's like, you gotta be a bit careful because you're gonna look at the majority people. What are the majority people saying? And they're probably all saying the same thing. So if there's a reason why majority people are not profitable and we're all saying the same thing, then you gotta really self-reflect on that, you know, because you don't want to be a lemming. You want to think independently from the lemmings. The lemmings you're gonna be in Lemmingville forever, you know, if that's the case. So you gotta be very independent. Trading is a very lonely game. You're gonna find all the data that you need, all the confluence that you need, all the teachings and mentorships that you need to build yourself a sort of like outlook on the markets. You know, because you can't rely on mass thinking. Mass thinking is what the economy is already taking advantage of. So, you know, if you're a mass thinker, then it can become quite dangerous. It's much easier to manipulate 100 people than it is to manipulate one person. You know, it's much easier. Have you ever been in a classroom and nobody knows the answer to something, and then somebody says something out of like confidence, whatever, and all of a sudden more of the class is leaning towards agreeing with that answer? So it's much easier to manipulate a lot more people than it is just one person. So you have to be very cautious when you're looking at building your foundation in trading. Just take everything with a grain of salt and see if it makes sense to you. You know, if for what I'm explaining, if this makes sense to you here, that if you get a clean candlestick body, that candle should move up. If that makes sense to you, then go with it, ride with it. If it doesn't make sense to you and you know this is gibberish over here, then you know maybe you're just not seeing it. So you're gonna see something else. Then your vision is gonna be different, and you gotta trust that vision. You know, that's the vision. God gave you that vision. He didn't give nobody else. God gave me this vision. He didn't give nobody else. So you just gotta trust your vision and just keep going with it. Yeah. You don't want to be under Sir Joshua Lido of House Lemmings control. For I am a merciless leader. Think for yourself, or Vic will send you to me. Yes. No. Oh, the Nightbot is doing wonderful work. It's blocking. There's this one hater here. It's blocking all his comments for me. Amazing. You have a trade today? No. As a second in command of Sir Joshua, I offer deals to make you profitable. You don't have to pay anytime soon. Do 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 do. Don't gotta pay anytime soon. Grind is sold separately, chat. This thing is it's really flirting with the possibility of coming back up here towards those previous seller entries. It's just flirting with them right now. It's telling those sellers that it's starting to become a little dangerous. You can see how it's broken that key level structure down over there and starting to accumulate orders. A little sideways movement over here. It's accumulating orders. It's a warning sign. It's telling these sellers over here that if I come up here, I might just be going for a 33.55 there, buddy. So don't make me break this high. Because if I break this high, the variables are about to shift. You know, and that's also a valid buy entry as well. So I would not want to play with these guys too much. They have a very nice 1 minute consolidation there. It looks very clean. They got a very nice structure over here. Very nice range to move up. So if you're holding like a sell out of greediness after hitting 65%, then there's a pretty nice chance that at least it's going to come up towards this level. Fill up that range. So you can expect like drawdown of this much. And then potentially continue moving up bullish. So that's what I would say. That's what I would say. Like price, I think if it breaks these highs, it's filling this range and then maybe go up towards like that wick over here by 33.55. Then just skyrocket upwards. A nice little SMA confluence. The SMA might give it a bit of a speed bump there, but we got 15 in confluence, breaking above the 30. Got a 1 hour. We're catching up to the 1 hour, but the 1 hour and the 5 might give it a bit of a challenge. But hopefully that accumulation can distribute it. Can give it that push that it needs. Compete. Still hasn't broken the highs yet. See how tight the stops are going to be. Got a pretty nice 1 minute stops. If that candle skyrockets upwards. It's in a sticky position. Gold is definitely in a sticky position. I see the struggle there. It's this SMA. It's this SMA, and we also got that 1 hour, which is kind of catching up over here. It's a very sticky situation. It's tight because the sellers are here. Like their entries, at least from my perspective, are right here. They're right here, and at the same time, there's a buy that's just about to, like, you know, it's trying to break above. Same time, those SMAs. I don't know how to explain it, guys, but you're gonna know this. You know, the more you trade a system and you watch price, you're just gonna know this sticky, because it's a lot less sticky here. You can see there's a lot more room and a lot more confluence, and that's the London Open. There's not a lot of wicks, candlestick bodies, but this is different. This is like showing a lot more wicks, moving sideways. You can see where the previous entries are. It sometimes even can just mess with people, you know, give you the illusion that it wants to come up, but it never breaks these highs. And then just dumps again. It's doing some psychology work here, gold. Let's see. Once it breaks those highs, I'm expecting a strong reaction. There we go. It's breaking the highs. New 5 minutes open. You see how I just pushed there in the last seconds as well? It really messes with people sometimes. It pushed at the last like 10 seconds and closed with like a very small top wick. You know, sometimes I can mess with people. And it's closed right below the SMA here too. So I think now that the sellers have been tapped out. Sellers have been tapped out. And let's see if there's going to be a shock in the water. Because if there's shock in the water, what would happen is, from what I'm seeing, is there's buy confirmations right now. There's buy confirmations to move up. So usually what you're going to see, if there's a shock in the water, the shock is just taking out the sellers, triggering the buyers, and then coming down to take their stop losses out. Only if there's a shock in the water. If there's no shock in the water, I would actually expect price at this point to move up towards at least resistance over here. That's by 33.51. Because so far there hasn't been a shock in the water. So far price has been respecting the strat like it should. So let's see. Let's see. You don't want to be in the ocean for too long. If you know there's possibilities of shocks, you're gonna have your swims over here, and the less you're in it, the better. But we're gonna see what happens. It's Freaky Friday. Maybe the Sharky is on vacation here for Freaky Friday. Took a little vacay. Yeah, the less you in it, the better. Freaky Friday. Yeah, let's move this. Let's move this on the side now. Let's move this on the side here. People who overtrade don't understand what it is that I'm doing right now. People who overtrade will just assume that they can get away with it. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. That they can get away with it. I love backtesting on Trader Casa. Nowadays, I feel like there's so many options to do a lot of things. You know, when I started trading in 2020, there was not even like for journaling and stuff like that. There was not a lot of options. But nowadays, people have a lot of options. Journaling, backtesting, getting funded. No fundamentals today equals no sharks. No, that's not true. There's always gonna be a shark. You can never have a day without it. It will be there. I want to see this thing rip up though, because I see a small little liquidity type situation that happened down over here. Created like this break of structure, like it came down then pulled up, but breaking these wicks over here. Breaking these wicks. Let's see. This is an interesting situation because, you know, if I was the market, this is a card that I would love to get dealt. Because with this card, I can literally do a very nice thing. I can take out the break even. If I was the shark, that's how I would do it. I would take out the potential trades here and then come down to take out the losing position, the other trades here. I'll take out the buyers, take out the break even guys. Then they maybe feel FOMO as I'm coming down to take out the buyers. They may be feeling some FOMO. They'll get back in and then maybe, you know, I don't even have to take this. I don't even have to push too far down and then just bring it back upwards. Think about all the moves that you could do. If you were dealt the hand of not the retail trader, let's say if you were dealt the hand to be the shark, if you were the shark, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? I think you'd actually understand price action a lot more. Think about it. If you start thinking like a shark, what does that mean? You're going to start looking at price differently, correct? You're going to start understanding price action in a different perspective. So you can already imagine that if you were the shark, then what would you have done? New York session, sharks all over. Nice work, Woods. Let's see, what is this? Freaky Friday really mess people who overtrade. Yes. No. Yeah, that's true. Even if you look at bank robbers, how many banks do bank robbers rob before they get caught? You know, in the movies, they're always like these successful bank robbers. And it's always that one bank. They say, this is the last one. You know, after this one, I'm going to like retire and stop this completely. And it's always the last bank that screws them over when they get greedy. So you kind of like think of it as similar. Because if you got like one bank here, that's one bank heist. Amazing. Second bank heist. Awesome. Third bank heist. Nice. Now you're pushing it here. Pushing it slightly on the fourth one. It could still work out. Don't get me wrong. But just so you know that the risk that it is. Always more risky. Because look, the reason I'm saying this is because sometimes when you start paper trading for the first time, you're going to come with a paper trading mentality and you're going to see maybe one move here, another move here, and then you just feel that urgency. Now you're feeling like, damn, okay, you know, I decided I was going to paper trade today, but let me just take a trade. Let me take a trade. I think it looks nice. But you've already missed the moves. That's the thing. You've already missed the moves. And then that's where it gets you. It's like, oh, it entices you in. And then it becomes riskier the further along that you go. So for me, when I come onto the charts, I'm always coming with, I'm either going to be executing or I'm just going to be watching, you know, because you don't want to get to that point where you get pushed into a trade. A lot of people can't even come onto the charts and just watch the candlesticks. It's that difficult to be disciplined that majority people, they cannot even do that. How crazy is that, champ? Because I know this because I've been in this situation. When I first started paper trading, I would find it so difficult to see my trades play out and not get involved. So difficult. But just because the market's open 24/7 doesn't mean you got to trade it. That's you. That's why I said like practice doesn't make perfect, self-reflection makes perfect. It's always those things that you gotta look back in and just rewatch, you know, like even basketball players, they rewatch their tapes, correct? We all just rewatch our performance and we self-reflect. You can't do much without self-reflection. That's why they teach it in schools as well. It's quite an important skill. It's not overly emphasized in schools, unfortunately, but you probably had an exercise in self-reflection at one point in your academics. Fractal suggests we are going to continue up. The 50-minute failed to create a new low. We might be in process of creating a 4-hour lower high. Oh, 4-hour lower high? Yes. You know, 4-hour looks good. You got a really nice range here on the 4-hour. The price can continue having like a 156 pip move. And daily is also bearish. I don't lie to myself. I just work and work until... sorry, what's this? I don't lie to myself. I just work and work until my time comes. Yeah, that's true. Some people, man, some people it takes some time. But every day trying to be better and accepting reality. Some people, it definitely takes some time. Especially when you miss the move, the best ways to watch. But these buyers are still safe. It's just as long as price doesn't come down here. Like these reactions, those are still fine. You know, as long as it doesn't break here. Because the idea is a stop. You gotta have a solid stop. These other levels can even this level here can be easily taken out like this. And then price could still reverse. Gotta have a solid stop. See, much like the trade that we had yesterday, stops were at this key level here of structure. So this one was taken out easily, but this one was still respected. Then we got that bomber clot. You know what I think it was? That variable was quite an interesting one, because the moment there was like a much more cleaner entry, you see how price just moved up? The moment it broke above this resistance over here, it just moved up. That was still valid what I did, but this is definitely a lot more cleaner. And that's a reaction that you want to typically get. See, like right over here as well, it just broke here and then just moved up. You see just where it broke here, look, it broke the lows and then it just moved down. It's always those trades you want to be cautious, you know, when it starts to do stuff like this. These are those character building trades. Breaks and then starts giving like a hard time. One to two trades a day keeps the 9 to 5 away. Buys 49 to 55. 49 to 55. Stops at 47. Okay. We got 47 over here. 33, 47. 3 minutes, 34 seconds for candlestick here to close. At least if we can create that support. Create that support and move up. I see a Friday fish coming. If these buys fail, that will be the first fake out. Vic, you're not forcing to take a trade? Nope. Our stream would have ended in the first 5 minutes. You know, if I took a trade today, literally it would have ended in the first 5 minutes if I was just streaming for trades. Oh, man. Coming from daily resistance, enter on the 1 hour break of consolidation at 33.66 after Powell spoke. Trade at break even, still holding a runner. Trade fueled by geopolitics, fundamentals, and pure price action. Gold sells. Oh, you're still holding this. This is a hourly time frame. There we go. Oh, there it is. There it is. Is there no shark today? Shark took a holiday or what? 65%'s been hit. Stops a break even. Man, this would have been such an awesome day. Just to overtrade everything. Shark's taking a holiday here. Vic, do you smoke shisha? I used to when I was younger. I don't smoke anymore. When I was younger, I used to love shisha. Man, when shisha at some point was like a very big trend. And everybody used to smoke shisha. Blow the smoke rings. But I don't like it, you know. It kind of makes me sick. You know, it's like the flavor, it's like too sweet or something like this. It makes me feel nauseated. But I used to love it as a kid. I used to have a shisha pot. You know the Russian vibe? how they make shisha right. Yes, sir. All right, see you later, trading. It's a vibe, yes. I think also vapes is something that are kind of going out of style now. Vaping is kind of slowly going out of style. Yeah, I mean, smoking is one of the most profitable industries. Get people addicted to nicotine. And you know, the problem with shisha, you smoke one shisha bowl is like smoking a whole cigarette, like a whole box of cigarettes. It's actually worse for you. It's just a lot more, yeah, bad for you. But the smoking industry makes so much money. You know, remember back in the days when smoking first came out, like it was just this thing that people would just look at and say, oh man, this is a cool thing to do. There was no like regulations to like advertising and that sort of thing. And you know, people get addicted to it. And it's just, it doesn't serve you any purpose. No, it's a very risky thing. You got people like Andrew Tate smoking cigars all the time. But when he had a scare where he got like a small scratch or something on his lungs when he was in prison, like he went to the hospital and they checked, they did x-rays and they saw like he had a small like scratch or something like that on his lungs. That's when it gets real. Now that's when you're not gonna be a top G anymore, when you realize that you might potentially be getting cancer. You know, that's when it gets real. That's when you get a reality check. I remember he's like talking about this story and you could actually sense the fear in him, despite him always smoking cigars and working out. So there's no point. There's no point towards that stuff. And if you're going to smoke a cigar. Smoke a nice stogie. That's what I do. Whenever I smoke it, it's probably going to be a nice cigar. And it's never going to be just like randomly, you know. Achieve something, get some shit done in your life, and you know, you can like reward yourself a little bit. Had to re-enter 50.4. This is nice, man. You got a pretty solid stop loss there. Looks like it just tapped the 65% mark, came back down, stops to break even anyway. So that's like a very small push. Like this range is really small. So a very small range. Damn. Yeah, that would be a risky trade, actually, because of how small the range is. Arnold voice, I smoke my stogie like a stud. A Terminator. Yeah, smoke that stogie. Don't let your wife say you can't smoke in the house unless you have kids. You gotta celebrate. Say, babe, I made a withdrawal this week. You know, I'm starting to make progress. So let me reward myself. Let me reward myself so you can repeat those good habits next week. Are we gonna fly, Goldie? Can we fly? What'd you say? Holding to tall trader 55? So yeah, that's just about that high. You see, that's what I meant. Like this is basically for the sellers over here. You see, the sellers are being they got the warning. Did I not tell you, chat, that the sellers were getting a warning over here? The market was consolidating, it was breaking key levels of structure, and you don't want to be holding this drawdown. You know, that's just more of a risky thing. I think in the market you can always somehow make some profits if you're not too greedy. You can make profit here, you can make profit here, you can make profit here, you can make profit here. You know, if you're not being too greedy. It's only when you are greedy that you can't make profit, because the price moved up. If you're greedy, it moved down. If you're greedy, it moved up. So it always puts you in like these real shitty situations. We've got to hit that 100. Let's see, we got any psychological marks here? We're trading at 3350. Got 3350, 3340, 3340 support over here. So we're ranging in between 3350 and 3340. Or maybe actually a little bit further up. Because it's a pretty big range. 3360 and 3340. So this is a sandbox. You know, that's why we got these zones here marked out like this. We got a 50-minute resistance above here and then support. So this is the area that you're looking to catch moves. This is the sandbox. Until price actually has like a big move come in, it's just going to be consolidating within this region. So, you know, bigger consolidation, bigger the move. What I think is going to happen for Freaky Friday overall, some people like to trade with the overall direction. I would think like overall that price would be... Wait, let me see on the higher time frame first. Let's go on the 30. 1 hour breaking. We got support. I think just the way with the daily, you know, the way the daily is looking here, I would be expecting it to just come back down. Because price on gold has just been doing the opposite of what we actually wanted to do. So I'll just be expecting it to come down then. Come down and fill up this previous weekly range. So then this 15-minute area over here becomes that accumulation. And you're going to see a pretty big move happen. I think more towards New York session, of course. That'll become the zone. And then price will just distribute. I have a feeling there's going to be a big move today. Let's see what we got for fundamentals next week. Monday, we got a... Yeah, okay. We don't really have much. Flash manufacturing. Tuesday, we got Bailey speaking. Powell testifies next week, Tuesday. Wow, okay. So that's going to be interesting. Testify about the semi-annual monetary policy report before the House Financial Services Committee. Yeah, we got Powell testifying next week on Tuesday, so we got to pay attention to this. You know what I think Powell is doing? All right, look at this. Wednesday over here, we got Powell speaking as well. We got unemployment claims Thursday. So we actually got... Oh, now we're getting some real folders. Core PC price index, unemployment claims, Powell speaking now. Monday is nothing too hectic on Monday. But yeah, you know what I think Powell is doing? I don't think we're going to have 2 rate cuts. I think we're going to have, if anything, 1 rate cut. 1 rate cut. But you know, the way the economy is now, so super risky with Trump and what do you call it? Like stagflation. Like it's not getting really any better. And unemployment rate is forecasted to increase by 4.3% by the end of the year. So it's not looking good for the US economy. So you know what? I think then Powell is going to look at 1 rate cut, not 2. I read somewhere it said 2, but I think 1 to none if he could do it. 0 rate cuts. But we got Trump over here who's really urging him to, because the people like rate cuts. All the lemmings like a rate cut. You know, but the market doesn't like a rate cut. That will push the price of the dollar even further down. So it's kind of interesting. It's like a conflict of interest because on one hand, Trump wants that the US economy does well, correct? And on the other hand, he wants that people will like him. So if he gets a rate cuts, he's gonna have more favor with the masses, because the masses like things like a little bit easy. You gotta get rate cuts, not rate hikes. So he's losing on the end that he's talking about, let's make America great again, because that's going to push the dollar down overall in the whole competitive environment of just our general economy. But the people are not going to know that. The masses are going to be like, yes, rate cuts. So whenever I look at politicians, they're always like playing, you know, you always have to play these 2 hats. You're always playing 2 hats. On one side, you are for the people. On the other side, you're also going against the people. And you can imagine, frustrating job here for Powell, because the masses don't know about this stuff, so they're gonna blame him. They're gonna say Powell is stupid. If you read the comments on social media, they're all saying, "Man, what's wrong with?" They're making Powell Biden, basically. That's what they're doing with Trump's presidency. That's what they're doing. He's manipulating people to make him seem like the bad guy. Quit hard after 27 years and never thought about it again. You might think, but I hope. Let's see. I favor smokers with cherry tobacco pipes. I really like, if it comes to like smoking ciggies, you know, like one time I was at a casino and this Chinese guy gave me a cigarette and it was such a nice cigarette. Wait, but I think looking back at it now, was it a Chinese or from Dubai? It was from either one of these two countries, but it was a really nice cigarette and it tasted really nice. It's not like the usual Marlboro or and that sort of thing. Marlboro doesn't really have much of a taste in my opinion. Or vanilla. And Camel is really strong. Dun, 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 dun. Skyrocket Goldie. All right, so crazy chat. Since the London Open, we've got 1, 2, 3, but this third one was a bit sketchy because it hit the 65 and then came back down. Would have liked it to push more to secure something. So maybe this third one would probably have gotten me out of break even. Na, na, na. Looking at the DXY here, let's go on the monthly. It looks like the dollar index looks like it's starting to come down. It looks like it's starting to break. It's broken this area. We did not get any bullish closes. Got 10 days for this candle here to close. So imagine, this is price action wise, this is already being forecasted to come down. And it looks like a massive liquidity grab here that happened on the quarterly as well. Break of this accumulation. This is an accumulation, break above, and then starting to break below support. So the price is already looking at 92 as a magnet. Now imagine coupled with a rate cuts, what that's gonna do. You know, and if you're holding dollars, you can see like a depreciation in your USD. So this is something like if we're gonna get a rate cut, it's most likely coming towards the end of the year, like towards maybe October, December. July, most likely no change. Again, September, we'll see. What do you think, gold goes up or down? You see, also with the dollar coming down like this, it's kind of weird to see that gold has also been having these deeper retracements down. So you see that negative correlation, or that negative correlation doesn't always work. So you're having dollar losing weakness, gold at the same time is losing weakness. It just paints a really interesting picture about the state of the economy right now. It's very uncertain that the markets are behaving a bit differently than what we'd be expecting. Oh, they got a nice little gap over here on the 30-minute. Little gap fill. There's like what, 70, 60, 75% chance that these gaps usually get filled. Haven't yet filled it. We haven't yet filled this gap. You think towards the end of the day it might go up? That's what we're waiting for. It's all accumulating now. It hasn't had a direction. So you can see how tight these fibs are. Like, their moves playing out. Very tiny, nice little moves. But the real big move has not happened yet. And the thing about it is, I would say the buys, at least for the way it's structured right now, buys would definitely be above like this area and then sells below that area. Would be nice if it came down to create another support and then break like this. Or it's going to create another support like that and then start to break above these highs. But we are not going nowhere. And this is 450 right now. We got the next hourly candlestick about open in like 10 minutes. It's been a pretty good day so far. Yeah, there's war and gold is going down. How fake is this? Imagine the Monday open of this week. Everybody expected price to go up and it just came down. The amount of people been liquidated here. Let's go on the 4 hour. Say the 1 hour. Tuesday. Where's Monday? Oh man, look at this. Oh, late. Oh, this looks so nasty. Just been ranging here. You got resistance, you got support, little break, retest, price came down. Little textbook move over here. Break, retest, price came down. Little accumulation, distribution. Very simple concept, you know. The good thing is there's no subjectivity here. There's no subjectivity here. Everybody can look at, anyone who can read price action is gonna look at this and they're gonna tell you that market moves sideways. There's no subjectivity there. You know, it's moving sideways. So we can clearly see it's moving sideways. And then now we're going to see what happens if it breaks. You know, it breaks sometimes. It doesn't move all at one go. It does a small little retest. And then continues moving down bearish. This is important. You know why this is important? Because this is on the 1 hour. But this is on the 1 minute. And it's basically the same thing. It's just like that sideways movement. Price breaks above, then distributes. This is a very choppy distribution. It took some time for that to distribute. And I think if you took it on the 1 minute, you probably would have gotten stopped out on this little swing right over there. Well, that's the distribution. And very choppy. You see how price just moves like this? It makes it kind of hard. It still filled up the range, but it did it in like a very difficult way. It like trickled up. But, you know, as long as you understand the concept, then, you know, you see there's no subjectivity here. We can all agree that this is a sideways movement. We can all agree that price had moved down. It moved sideways. And it started breaking above to distribute upwards. But it's always a question of, if price is going to move up, how is it going to move up? You know, sometimes you get cleaner moves to the upside. And then sometimes you get these little situations, which can be very difficult to trade if you're on the LTF. But if you're on the 5 minute, you're probably like more safe. Get a better stop loss in there. As we pointed out, and you know, rest is history. Someone was showing how gold dropped for a while when Ukraine and Russia started their beef. Then and after a while it flew up. Maybe might be worth taking the details and see if this war reflects. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing, you know, we can't know 100% why it moved down, but if it starts to move up, we can just assume that it was a pricing in of what was to come next. Like if you look at more on the daily, we can just assume that this was just a pricing in of sorts. But the problem is it doesn't look like a pricing in. It looks more of like a fake out. It looks more like a fake out to come back and trade within the range. But we'll see. I'm sure like once that volume properly starts to kick in, we're going to see gold trend. And you're going to see possibly a really big chode over candlestick like this just come out of nowhere. Maybe even next week. You're going to have a daily candle that's really big. And, you know, that's going to be targeting above like, you know, 3,500 over here. So, yeah, I think we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait because like a lot of what is going on right now is speculation. Well, speculating why is price not moving the way it should move. So we just got to wait. Gold heads for weekly decline. Gold fell below 33.60 per ounce on Friday. trading near a 1 week low and heading for its first weekly decline in 3. Let's see, they're going to talk about it. As investors sold bullion to cover losses in other markets. Ah, that makes sense now, you see. Investors sold bullion to cover other losses in other markets amid escalating Middle East tensions. Aha, okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you, chat? That makes sense to me. So we got big money over here. They have to mitigate risk in other areas, other markets. So they're pulling out from gold. Israel and Iran continue trading attacks, with Israel intensifying strikes on strategic and government targets in Tehran after reports of an Iranian missile hitting a major Israeli hospital. That's why investors are focused on the White House, with President Trump weighing directly military action against Iran and a decision expected within 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve held rates steady earlier in the week and signaled 2 rate cuts. Oh, they signaled 2 cuts by the year end, though Powell warned that tariffs could continue to push prices higher. Yeah, I think it's just going to be 1. They talked about 3 rate cuts last year, and I think we only got, what was it, like 2? Fresh Fed forecast pointed to weaker growth, higher inflation, and lower unemployment. Lower employment, and lower employment in 2025. Stubborn inflation may limit rate cuts, weighing in on non-yielding gold. Yeah, so that's actually quite an interesting angle. That since there's so much going on and it's affecting other markets, that we're seeing profit taking here on gold from the big players. All right, so now we know why price moved down. So this is creating opportunities for them to buy it back later. Even though they're selling now, they're still gonna start looking at areas that they are gonna be looking to buy back again. But you see, that's why I don't like smart money concepts, because we don't know what they're gonna do. You know, they're not gonna tell you. When was the last time a billionaire, for example, told you about something he was about to invest in that was gonna make him a lot of money? So, you know, just be a little cautious when you see like Elon Musk, you know, tells you about certain things. Because most people in the real world, they're not going to tell you about their investments, especially if they know that there's going to be a certain outcome. Because y'all, obviously, why would you do that? You know, why would you do it? It just kind of ruins it. You're ruining it. You could even change something. If you have that type of influence, you're ruining it. Maybe they tell you for liquidity. So Elon can, for example, get in $1 on Bitcoin. Let's say it goes to $10, and he'll tell guys like, hey, listen, Bitcoin's going to the moon, but he just needs more people to buy so he can get out. Because for price to move down, you need to have buyers in the market. You know, it needs to create these retracements, push it down. Create those retracements, push it down. Push it down. So yeah, that's the only time that I think it makes sense. That a billionaire will tell you what they are investing in. So you see, that's why smart money, we don't know what's happening. Now I know what's happening. Okay, so profit taking, cover losses in another market. Awesome. But as retail traders, how can you know that? How are you going to know that when we're seeing price already skyrocketing here and creating new higher highs? How are you going to know that? Who told you this information? So you see, we very much lack a lot of information. Where you're getting it from, I don't know. If you say you trade smart money, I don't know. Maybe you got a friend over there who works at a bank. Maybe he can tell you things. But yeah, for the most part, it's a lot of speculation. So, you know, we're just going to read the candles. When the volume comes in and we do start trending, then we're just going to swim with the bigger shocks. And hopefully, you know, catch some runners. Yeah. Follow the game plan. You can still make money today. You didn't have to overthink the analysis. Got some buys, got some sells. Also, Tall Trader got some buys over here. But we haven't really hit... I don't know if you're still holding your position. We haven't really got into like 33.55 yet. But this range is already filled up. So we don't know what's going to happen at this point. It's already hit resistance. So again, it becomes a little bit sketchy. It's the same thing as the 65% mark here. How price came down, hit 65. Then it reversed. So it's the same situation here. We don't know what's going to happen at this point. Same as here. Hit that resistance and it came down. So this is like a... yeah, that becomes like 50-50 if price continues to run up. Also, the current month candle hasn't created the lower wick. The open price is higher than the previous monthly close. It's quite true, you know, that bottom wick there on the monthly, we thought we could at least make it. We have about 10 more days here. And it's about 655 pips away. It's really not that far off. So what do you all think? Can we create that bottom wick? Price would have to melt back down towards the bottom of this range. Right over here. Which can actually be done. In 10 days, that could actually be done. Even less than 10 days. But if it does that, that will be wild. That will be wild. Because, you know, we see these things happening on the lower time frames and higher time frames. Like, mostly as high as a daily. When a candle doesn't have, let's say, a bottom wick, so it reflips. But seeing it happen on the monthly, that just feels like a much bigger move. And it's only 10 days here. So that's equivalent to a... Well, what would we say? Like 10 minutes? 10 minutes on an hourly candle or something like that. So the closer we get to this candlestick here closing, the more volatile that the monthly candlestick can behave. So let's see when is this month ending. It's ending on a Monday. Oh, so we're due for like a Freaky Monday. After next week, we're going to have Freaky Monday. I lost on a short position, but minimized the damage. I think this is it for me for the week. Good work on managing damage. Monstrous Monday, yes. Feel like that last day of the month is going to be crazy. It's going to be volatile. How am I king today? Guys, I'm not even trying. I expect better. Hey, Frankie, thank you for that dono. Appreciate it. I've been having a bad sell placement this week. That's good. At least you can reflect on that for the weekend. Just put it in your journal, or like you can edit your a playbook. Is the Nightbot talking to you only? No. If it doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen this month, it might retrace on the next month, or a big sell-off. Yeah, that's true. If we close bullish without that bottom wick, who knows what is to come on gold at this point? It's really unpredictable because yeah, exactly. The next monthly candlestick can just open and just completely rip down. And you know, like gold has been somewhat parabolic over here. Look at the monthly. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullish candlesticks, correct? So we might just see, that would be wild. For the second half of this year, that price on gold just comes down like this. So that means there's risk off on the gold market, so institutions can manage or mitigate their risks, but then they will buy it back later. They'll look at buying it back later for price to move up. Because if this is like a real problem, how big is this move expected to be then? You know, because these players are moving a lot of money, so we could still expect price to just keep selling off. I mean, look at the way, for example, price was selling off here. Hey, Mr. Rashid, thanks for the membership.
Mr. Ash has become a member.
Look at that big ass move here. You could have a similar move happen like this. Sales have been good this month. Yeah, funny thing is I've been mainly taking buys for this week. But the sells have been really good. Maybe my first trade for the day would have been a buy here on Goldie. This is still struggling a bit here. Still struggling with it.
Mr. Ash has become a member.
So yeah, no setup here right now, guys. This is consolidation. You don't want to get involved in this. The market has already been paying out quite nicely, so now it is chopping up quite a bit. So look at the wicks. Look at how volume is starting to die out here. Yeah, a bunch of wicks, a little bit more sideways movements. What price needs to do is it needs to rip up. It needs to rip up, create structure if it wants to come down. Because you can't take a sell. You're going to be selling into a support. You got support right here. You got support right here and here. So we want to see price move up. Do something maybe like that and then come back down. Or for it to come down and then do that and then come up. Kind of like what happened here basically. But yeah, this is a goat shit. Man, if you take a trade right now, this is the ultimate goat shit. Because it's an hourly candle with no volume. And you got a lot of like wicks here. The structure's not looking good. Even a buy got 50-minute resistance right there. There's just no hope, you know. Like if you look at the hourly, you got hourly resistance also right here on the HTF. The only thing that can move it is volume, and it's just gonna be an abrupt move, basically. It's gonna be, all right, let's see on the 1 minute here. It's just gonna be a volume-based entry. That's the only thing that makes sense, that price will break above certain key levels. But the timing is not the greatest. But, you know, anything can happen in the market. That's the thing. But looking at it from the way I like to read price, timing is not great. Structure is not in the favor right now. So there's a high probability of a shark in the water. Yeah, the market's just got to move now. GJ forming both buy and sell setups. Hey, you're using the featured broker. That's a new featured CMC markets. Yeah, that's what the setup here you took was on a Australian dollar USD. CMC markets. Price action looks pretty nice on CMC markets though. Wait, let me see. Oh, we're getting gaps. Nah, it's not good. Yeah, sorry, my bad. So yeah, CMC markets was the one with the gaps. See, it has these little like gaps and stuff. bullish candle, then you got like a small gap over here. You got like small gaps all around the place. Whereas if you use like FXCM, it's more structured. It looks a lot more clean. So GJ should be on its way up. Let me see how that the buys here would look. If you took a buy here, let's say your stop was below here, expecting price to move up here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Let's see, was there another buy entry here? No. Because if this candle here closes bullish in the next 30 seconds, you're gonna see what we're gonna do here. 65% hit. That was the first move. So look at this. The first move here played out. You made profit. Price moved up. Hit 65. Came back down. That's why we're always managing here at 65. Because we don't know if that's just gonna melt. It could also just melt. So it hit 65. It came back down. Oh, now look at this. Look at this. Instead of risking 25.8 pips, you can only risk now 8.1. Yeah, instead of 25.8, risk management should be 8.1. So you're cutting your risk down more than half. Way more than half. That's like 90% that you're cutting on that trade. Because the market needs to move. This is the point where price needs to move from this point. You got your SMA confluences, you got your SMA crossovers. If a candlestick starts to re-break these lows, you know, then that's not gonna be a good sign. That just means there's low volume and we don't know what's gonna happen. So this is a point that price needs to move from. It needs to move from this point. So we might see a reaction come in. We also got a beautiful little kiss of death over here on pound yen. Look at that beautiful kiss of death on the 5-minute. It's a similar situation like yesterday's trade. Remember yesterday's trade, how this was supposed to move when we manage our risk. Usually when we manage our risk, we're expecting price to move. So I would love to see something like that happen on GJ. So that's a really nice luxury. GJ just gave amazing luxury to people in buys right there, to reduce their risk on the trade. Thanks, Tetra Sir, taking this buy signal. This buy signal. I buy a Lambo with profit. Let's go. Now GJ is slow. Yeah, it's super slow. Very slow pair. GJ, what's it? GJ not moving compared to COVID times. That's true, man. Like the price action completely different. Especially this year. You know, before you could trade gold and you could get like 10 pip ranges, for example. But nowadays the ranges are at least 30 pips. At least 30 pips on these ranges. Yeah, and GJ used to move. Man, GJ used to be really nice to trade. Look at this. Look at how many times we used to trade GJ here. We even have streaks of trading GJ. This was like seven trades on GJ. And these are all dubs. 7 dubs on GJ. Man, these are completely different times. Yeah, the market definitely shifted, chat. So I think like on GJ, you see, if it breaks these lows, it's basically, that's why I think like it should start moving up here. It should respect these lows and start moving up. Because if it breaks these lows, it's going to be like that accumulation and then break out a little bit of a warning over there. Just the same warning that the sellers were given over here that we spoke about. How when price triggered these entries, came hit 65, consolidated, started breaking above. A little bit of a warning. You see, it's still squeezing the sellers out. Because the major stop losses are going to be above here, like 33.55. So, man, look at that. Just like we talked about, you know, the market's going to give you warnings sometimes. So it all depends on how you're going to react to those situations. See, like here on GJ, amazing risk management, but you don't want to test it too much if it starts to break. You see, it should start moving. It should start moving. After this was formed, that's going to be what we're expecting that price does. Breaks these highs and then continues to fill up this next range. Got a little inverted down over here that we previously spoke about. Right shoulder distribution. That's a little bit of accumulation happening here. Break of the highs. Continue moving up. Definitely the swing type of entries work when price is moving a lot. So you can see recently GJ has been moving quite nicely here. It's been creating like quite a lot of opportunities. Yeah, so I'm break about the highs. Oh, nice. The range would be up by 196 to 210. 196, 210. At least to go up towards that level. Yeah, it's crazy how the risk to reward here changed so significantly. It changed from a, let's say 0.97 to a almost a 3, 1 to 3. Because you manage your risk. See, gold hasn't still yet taken them out. Came very close. Victor, should we do a 1 day only GJ? I didn't think I was gonna trade GJ anymore for the year. Then I'm just gonna speculate on pound prices. Because it's not as exciting. You know, when you get into a GJ trade, it's like you don't really expect much from it. This looks like it could be a bomber clot though. But you don't really expect much from it like you do on gold. You know, like when we take a gold position, I love gold for that reason that it just can start flying. You know, at any moment, it'll just completely dump if you're in a sell. That's why I love gold. I don't get that with GJ. Actually, you know, I had a lot of good trades fail on GJ for that reason of volume. Like, for example, I'll take a buy here. And then let's say we got like a resistance. All right, let me draw it here. We got a resistance here. And when price creates a new higher high, then GJ would pull back down. You know, it tends to do something like this. Creates new higher highs. And then starts to pull back down. You see this garbage over here. That's creating new higher high in the LTF. And then starts to pull back down. That's a characteristic with GJ that I really don't like. Whereas like with Goldie, when it picks a direction, we can just see it keep moving in that direction. Like a lot of people trade gold. Gold has a lot of volume in it. So you could just see something like that happen. But I still got the GJ chart open over here just so we can see if anything changes, like if we get any shifts, and then maybe we can start executing on it. If you want to get funded, just trade gold. Yes, gold is nice. Definitely just trade gold. Gold is scary at the same time. I like it. I like it. It respects structure. It's not like something like Euro USD or currency. Most currencies are easily more manipulated than something like gold. Gold tends to give you that right amount of dosage in terms of volume and respecting structure. I don't know what the situation there is on the indexes though. And the German 40s, the Dirty 30, the NAS 100. Because you could get volume, but is it respecting structure? That's the question. If you're going to be trading an index. Oh my days. Trump media actually completely flopped. I thought this was one thing that could move up with his presidency. But Trump media is down to $18. Holy. I feel like Trump being president right now, I'm not seeing anything nice so far. You know, the stock market went down. The dollar is currently going down. They say he has his lowest ratings ever right now. I see Trump media is going down. Millennia coin was a scam. Trump coin was a scam. I'm not seeing anything really nice that Trump has done so far, to be honest. Maybe he's just given better stock prices for people who want to invest in the long term. But, you know, that's the rich getting richer. The rich getting richer are always going to benefit from stock market crashes like this. And they're going to buy and then, you know, price is going to move up later. But everything so far with Trump has just been going down. Now, I think now he's going to war. Maybe now he's going to be more involved in the Middle East. So, yeah, that's going to be a big question mark here. Since then, also Tesla's gone down. Elon's gone down with it. Or rather, I feel like, man, this guy is manipulating. He's doing so much manipulation and taking advantage of so many things. I wonder how high his net worth has gone up since he became president. Because everything that I see from a trader's perspective is something I could make money on. I could make money on that. You know, Trump is not a dumbass. He knows these things. Honestly, what do you expect with giving a mad monkey some guns? It's like that video in the Congo when the monkey took the gun away from the soldiers. Just spraying it all over the place. But only him and his friends get rich. So we're gonna see what happens. You know, second half of the year over here, things might turn around. Things may turn around. I mean, even since you got president, like to be honest, gold has been selling more as well. It's been going more down. Dollar's been going down. Gold's also been going down. Remember when he won the presidency, how gold was just selling off? And now we've just broken into a consolidation. So that's just the overall market environment. Marisa made its own fate with electing him. Oh, America. That video was lemming behavior at its peak, giving the monkey a gun. What is the longest losing streak you ever got on gold? My longest losing streak maybe has been like 3-4 trades, something like that, of late at least. 3 or 4 trades, because we got my data over here. You can see that maybe my longest losing streak, usually it's about like 3 trades. See 2024. Yeah, this is about like 3 trades. This is September to December 2023 to 2025. I mean, the only way that you can reduce losses is honestly just by trading less. It's just by taking 1 or 2 trades a day. So it giving less chance for the market to increase your losses, because the only reason you're having a long losing streak, or you might have a long losing streak, is because you're obviously taking a lot more trades. You're giving a lot more opportunity for losses. But if you take a loss today, come back the next day, or, you know, do that, you don't really catch losing streaks that much. Mr. Rashid, ты говоришь по-русски, тоже ты знаешь немский язык, да? Это хорошо. Два самые большой языки узнать. Немец, русский, французский, Italiano. I love Italian. Italian sounds so nice. Italians are very noisy people. They smoke a lot and they get burned by the sun. But the language, such a nice language. Italiano. Italian and French. Man, you see Italians on holiday, I wonder how they don't get cancer. You see these really old ladies and they look basically black. They have changed their ethnicity just from sitting in the sun, and it's always like a competition to who can get the most darkest. I smoke a lot of ciggies. I don't know how it is in Italy though. I haven't been to Italy. That's just from the Italians I see when I'm on holiday. Yeah, man, Italy is so nice. Missing it already after 24 hours. So gold is just taking out the sellers over there. The greedy sellers. They don't make profit here. They got the warning all the way back over here. So this was the warning that we were talking about. So now look at this. Sellers have been taken out just from that little warning down over there. So this is good, because the next time you're going to see that, and then you're going to remember this. What happens when price breaks structure, consolidates, and starts to give entry signals to the opposite direction. So it's taken out the sellers. But you see, now there's just no buy opportunities at this point because obviously there's resistance here. You got a resistance, so you can't take a buy. You're buying into resistance, which is not smart. Also, there's hourly resistance up there as well. So don't get greedy. Don't feel like you're missing out on anything. The volume's kind of dead right now. It's 527. There's nothing. Maybe on the next candles, that price can do something a little bit more interesting. Right, you gotta look left and say to yourself, like, if it's worth trading these ranges. You got like a 5.2 pip range over here. Here you got like a 15, 16 pip range. And here you got like a 30 pip range. But let me see if this is valid from here. Yeah, it could still be valid if you can get some structure formed somewhere around here before it breaks these highs. But I think the next move that's gonna be on gold is probably gonna be a short if it pushes up. But you see, that's why I mean, like, these are the most potent areas to actually be involved in the market. Like when you come in during this time, these are like more potent times. And then you gotta see where the potency starts to die out. That way you spend less time on the charts. You know, you just come exactly when you're expecting moves. Whereas, you know, a novice trader would be basically on the chart the whole time. They will be on the chart like... That's what I used to do, like not having a set time to trade, and you're going to be on the chart the whole time. And you're trading through the shitty times and the good times. The shitty times and the good times. But what you want to lock in is those good times alone, so you can save yourself some time. You know, you come in here, you do your business, and you call it a day. Imagine if I was trading alone, chat. If I was trading alone, this is how my day would have looked like. I came onto the chart here, 3. I got my buy here, and I was done in just about 5 minutes. Then what? Then what are you going to do with the rest of your day? You know, you've literally come onto the charts. 5 minutes you've executed. You've taken your profits. You're done for the day. You know, that leaves the rest of the day quite open. And you know, they say the devil loves idle hands. The devil makes good work of idle hands. So what's going to happen now is that you're going to get bored and you're going to come back to the chart later and you're going to want to take another trade. That's what's going to happen if you don't have discipline. Yeah, I can speak Russian, German, Dutch, English, and Dari, Afghan. Nice. But not fluent Russian. I understand what you said, but can't type it. Oh, you can't type it that quick. No, 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 no. Tapping into resistance. Oh, a lot of Italians are mulatto from ancient days. Are they mulattoes? Maybe that's why they tan so much easier, actually. Because you know, some Europeans, they can't tan no matter how much they sit in the sun, that they can't catch it. They just get red or burnt, kind of, you know. Takes a lot more work. Let's say that. Takes a lot more work. For me, I can tan easily. I look really light right now. I've not been in the sun that much, but if I go in the sun for like a few days, if I go to a really warm climate, I can tan quite quickly. I can go from sometimes white to almost looking more black. Exactly why I have my PS5. If I feel aggravated or like overtrading, quick match, then back to charts. YouTube has just ruined my mood. Don't even want to play video games. I only play video games when I'm in a good mood and I've achieved like a lot of stuff, but I did not expect this from YouTube this week. So annoying. I was starting to get traction, YouTube. The moment I was starting to get traction, the world goes to shit. We were getting like really nice views and you know, the stream was doing really good. Now we've been put in the gulag. You know, that's the one thing I've always been afraid of is like when I started trading, I always wondered what is going to happen when I become profitable. I always have this fear that something bad is going to happen. Like maybe I can't trade on brokerages anymore or you know, just some kind of like barrier that comes in the way. It's crazy. Life is super unpredictable. That's why you got to make the most of everything that you're doing at this moment. If you cross the Alps from Germany even to northern Italy, the sun is really different already. Right? Italy is basically North Africa. It's right there by the boot. No, imagine going south for 1,000 kilometers more to Rome and even Sicily. Genuine advice, get yourself a motorcycle. Great way to improve mood, get mental reset and clarity, blow off some steam and de-stress. Which broker do you use and trust, please? IC Markets, pretty nice. Yeah, I'm still contemplating the motorbike thing. See if price actually breaks above these areas. Oh, how did I do that? Either it'll shoot up for the last shoot up fast or a fake out. That's what I mean. If you go on a higher time frame, it looks like a... It looks like it could... It could, like, this would be the accumulation then. So we just disregard that head over there. Actually, let's remove all this analysis from the screen. So we're going to disregard that head over here. We'll just call that the liquidity grab. And then this becomes the new range. This becomes a new range. So that was just like a fake out. That was a support. You got some resistance over here. And now price can stop breaking. So that's the thing. It still needs volume, which should be getting in the next 25 minutes. That's when the volume should typically start increasing a little bit if we're going to see a move. Best case scenario, it breaks during the New York session. But yeah, with the pre-New York, then I think, you know, if it start breaking above here, it should start moving up nice and distributing. The thing is, like, it's already exhausted the options down over here. So since when we came out to stream and the trades that we called, those options have already been exhausted. Oh, and I see GJ is also retraced down again. Yeah, GJ looked like it taken out the... we'll see if there's a shock in GJ. But it looked like it pushed up once here. A little bit of a trap, taking out these lows. Let's see if it pulls back upwards. But yeah, this is GJ over here. Low volume to continue moving up bullish as well. Dump it. Yeah, but really nice trades caught here by Derek this morning. Clean AF. Clean AF. Surgical precision. Look at this. Right to support. Nothing feels good when you build a trading plan and you see it play it out to the T. There's no better feeling. Because it means that you're on the right track. There's also the earlier GJ buys which played out nicely, filled up that range. But we haven't yet really gotten a Freaky Friday yet. Yeah, there's a volume indicator here. What does this even mean? 11.69k x 11.22k. I'm gonna hit up space when I want to build a house next time. You can make me a really nice foundation. Very nice foundation blueprint. SOW in phase B. Long to short. A pyramid house. Yeah, true. He's gonna design it in a way it looks like a pyramid from the outside, but when you walk in, it's not shaped like a pyramid. Some crazy architectural skills I'm sure he's capable of. On the outside, it looks like a triangle, but when you walk in, you're gonna see something different. By the way, look at the gold futures on GC1 at trading view. Okay, let's see gold futures. I never look at gold futures. This is like comics. It's basically the same, right? It's the same thing. It's more or less the same thing. The difference I've noticed with the futures is it hits all-time highs a lot faster than gold spot. $14 difference. What do you think can short gold now? Wow, this feels a bit different. The chart here feels a little bit different. Look at this XAU USD. I'm kind of oh, it's probably something with the kill zones, because it's making the dark side here a little bit like it's a bluish tint. You see this? Look at this compared to this. It's like a slightly bluish tint. I wonder why it does that. Yeah, this is gold futures. Let's see that resistance. Same resistance. Yeah, pretty much. It's the difference between CFD and physical gold. I trade GC1, it moves the same, thankfully. That's so interesting. So actually, you know, we're going to take a buy here on gold. So I think this is what people do. People take like on futures, they're taking the same setup. This is like the same. Okay, but it's see on here it's invalidated though. On here it's not valid. On here it's wait, no, sorry, my bad. It actually is. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's not valid. Now you gotta take it here on gold. And on gold it looks a whole lot nicer. But I guess you still get the same push. I guess the concept is still the same. So you could theoretically trade it. Even you got that little accumulation distribution thing happen over here too. And you got the sell-off from here to here into the 65. It will still work. Looks like the sellers were destroyed. I mean, the buyers here, their stop loss were hit, and then that triggered in you could look at it as another sell confirmation here that went down towards the 65 and then had that reaction again. Because so far in GJ, there was only one setup here, and there was one confirmation here for continuation to fill the range, but that ended up into a reduced risk, and then came in another potential position here where the reduced risk was getting hit out. Was the other entry confirmation. So you got like 1, 2, and 3 pushes from here down towards that 65% mark. So that's the only thing that's happened in this time span. See, there's never always gonna be so many trades, so you gotta get okay with like waiting. But I think here for Freaky Friday, we've been getting them happen like almost back to back. All right, so Goldie's on the move now. We got a yeah, I started to break out of this gulag. It's just not very interesting to trade gold right now because there's no structure. It's just moving parabolic. Basically, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the 5th candlestick. It's moving a bit parabolic as it's breaking above that 15-minute resistance. What are we going to do today? Iran not prepared for talks with anyone while Israel attacks continue. Iran not prepared for talks with anyone. You guys see that Twitter post that they made that everyone will feel it? Things escalating there. Come on, Goldie. What are we doing for Freaky Friday? Oh no, I gotta sign in. I always forget about signing in on TradingView. I need to sign in on my browser. I want to ask Zoli, what is gold gonna do? Because we haven't had the Freaky Friday yet. The freaky part has not yet fully come. Except that the entries were playing out beautifully so far. The freakiness has not yet come. I'm assuming this is going to be it. As it's starting to move away from this section over here. We've fully exhausted this area here, chat. Like since the London Open. Fully exhausted those entry opportunities. So the market needs to move now. It needs to move and create more opportunities somewhere else. Breaking above 33.60, I think. Break above, skyrocket up. Let's move on to the next sector. Actually, you know, if you think about it that way, you break down your trading in a very palatable way if you break it into little pieces like this. You're looking at one sector here, and then you're saying, okay, so what's left over here? Is there anything left to trade? And then, you know, obviously, sometimes you're going to see that there's nothing. And that means that the market will have to move to another place. Or what it can sometimes do is it can break, and let's say it'll come back, but it'll come back with volume and then start to create some new ranges. And then this also doesn't hold any more relevance at that point. But for Freaky Friday, we usually see the best results definitely come in more towards pre-New York in the next 15 minutes. Pre-New York into New York Open. This looks good on the 30-minute. At least it's breaking above resistance here. I don't know if y'all are planning on taking any moves. You can send a chart in. I think what people are going to be doing now is they're going to be waiting on the 30-minute. Because if you look at all these other time frames, they don't really look good to trade. Take a 15, buying towards resistance. 5 minutes also going to be quite choppy. That's why I think a lot of people are waiting now that 1 hour is about to close in the next 13 minutes. 13 minutes 55 seconds here. So we're going to wait and see if this candle can close above resistance here by 33.57. Or like an impulsive entry would be like a break here. But the risky thing about like an impulsive break of that wick is that the 1 hour time frame is kind of like extended a little bit. So, and it's about to close. So you might find yourself in like hourly pullback. So if it breaks in 13 minutes here, now it's going to just like hover around here and then close. So you get a chance to be caught in that like little bit of a pullback situation. But it's finally moving. It's got the SMA confluence right underneath it like this. Yeah, we've got the 30 is about to close. So it only makes sense on the higher time frame. Lower time frames look super choppy. Super choppy. That actually looks like an inverted as well from this angle here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Got some space until that 30-minute SMA. $12-minute, 30 seconds. Can we close above resistance, Goldie? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Ooh. Oh, y'all think that's a nasty fake out? Probably on the 30. Because the way that looks, I don't know how these other brokers. Let's see how XAUSD on Awanda looks. It seems like it has got a top wick there. Look at Pepperstone. Pepperstone also got a top wick. They all seem like the daily candles have like a top wick. Oh, that could be such a brutal liquidity grab. Honestly, if the 30 breaks above this, create a new higher high. With that bearish momentum we're seeing on the daily. Because, you know, it's all about like the higher time frame direction. And if we're seeing that investors are pulling out of gold to mitigate risk in other markets, then this could be a really nice opportunity here. Because remember, for price to move down, we need buyers. Correct? So if a candlestick breaks above, because this is not this would not be a swing entry confirmation. This is just reading candlesticks. This is just reading candlesticks. So big difference, because this is not part of my playbook, but this is something I would be expecting, like something to happen the moment that we cross over this level over here. So it's either gonna keep moving bullish like that. Ideally, that's what you would want to see. But we've moved up 1, 2, 3. That'll be 4, 5 to keep moving up like that. Or I think what a lot more people feel comfortable is with fading such a move like this. Then you see come back into the gulag like this. You're going to look back at this in hindsight. And then maybe we start selling off into pre-New York here. Pre-New York into New York Open. And for Freaky Friday, we just melt. We just melt. Because gold has been moving down. If you think about it, gold has been most of the time just been moving down of late. So it can't be like fitting here for the weekly, that the weekly just continues to push down. You know, it ended off nicely. That is just a bearish sentiment on Goldie this week. So that's something you might be cautious about, potential whips. If you're still looking for a buys within these regions over here. See, I can really sense like some sort of liquidity-esque type of moves to be happening. I don't actually feel good about them. Because if you're expecting a liquidity, wait for that candlestick to flip, reflip, break those lows, stop loss above this area. That's typically how people would go about something like this when you're expecting fake outs. That's a liquidity grab. And trap the buyers in there. Then calm down. And that's basically reading the candlesticks. That's no strategy. It's just a situational thing that we're currently in right now. See, now it's re-breaking the lows. Brutal fake out yet. Brutal fakey right there. On the 5 minute as well. You can see how the 5 minute is starting to bleed. It's a very tricky level that is. Daily doesn't have a top wick, so it might flip up soon. I thought it didn't, but it does. It does have a small top wick there. But you know, the thing is, we know why price is moving the way it's moving now. Because we had the fundamentals, and we can just get that confirmation again. That that investors are selling gold to cover losses in other markets amid escalating Middle East tensions. Wow, look at this. Whip central, and you can see it on the 1 minute better. You got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can just see the way, like, these are just fake out. These are just fake outs typically look when markets just completely move in one direction after being involved in a key area, such as this. See on the 30 minute little liquidity grab, go on the 15. On the 15, you see 15 minute candle close above. Look how brutal this is. 15 minute candlestick close above, broke the previous highs, and then just completely melted in the opposite direction. It's just a 15 higher low now. Yeah, it's a 15 higher low, true. Because we've been respecting the previous ones here, and now also been respected here. 15 higher low. That's why it's like, whatever happens here, yeah, it could create a new higher high, but that would probably just be a fakie. I wouldn't trust it. And this is why I moved away from trading like this. There's a certain way that people can trade like this that is quite risky, you know, it's quite risky. It doesn't work as nice as the way we trade on the 5 when you start going up higher time frames and looking at ranges from that perspective. See how far this thing actually pushes after that little grabby. Would have been even better to create a support here on the 5 minute and then break below it. Like this, get a little bit of another fake out situation. Oh, that would be so tempting, chat. If we got that happen, even if I said I'm just paper trades, that would be so tempting just to see this happen. And then maybe something like this with a long wick above this region. Candlestick body closure, and then candle just to rip back down like this, break of the support. That would be so tempting to take. Because it's lining up nicely with what we're seeing on the 30 as well. You got that little rejection wick in there. You got 5 minute structure. But it's a sticky one now because let's see, if you close a support here, that range towards this next area is quite small. Stop losses will be too big above here, unless you create some structure somewhere around here. But I can see already gold going into like a kind of sticky situation. It usually does this when it doesn't create like enough movement from place to place. So if you're trading zone to zone, it creates like a resistance. Sometimes the zone's a bit too tight. And if the zones are too tight, they're much harder to trade. And you're going to get like much faster reactions. So pretty much the same thing that happened right over here. So if you notice how quickly you had this reaction, hit the 65 and then came back down. It's because this overall zone is really tight. So you can only hope that price can just keep going up smoothly from these areas. But if you were to get a similar setup here to here that you had like here at the break of these highs, then you could imagine like something similar like that. That 65% mark will not be too far off. It'll just be about like, you know, 11 pips distance. So still no move. Maybe the only moves you're gonna see is like on the 1 minute. Yeah, something like on the 1 minute, but 5 minute here structure is not looking that good. But it's mad to see that 30 minute just completely flip here. You got about 3 minutes to close. Thing looked like it wanted to close above resistance, then reflip. Is a 4-hour candle flip bearish? It's going to be a big move. Yeah, the 4 hours actually give a really nice confirmation. You got 2 minutes. Thanks for that heads up. But you got like 2 minutes 40 seconds for the 4 hour here to close. So you're about to get so much new volume coming. That's why I'm saying like this is a pre-New York. This next 4 hour candle, that's gonna be heading towards New York Open. That's gonna be heading towards New York Open. The next 4 hour candle. The first 2 hours of the next 4 hour is gonna be pre-New York, and then we're gonna get New York Open. Oh, sorry, my bad. We got 6, 7. Yeah, the first 2 hours of the next 4 hour. Pre-New York and then New York Open. It's gonna open up here. Because, you know, if you look at the 4 hour candles, you also like trying to see how this 4 hour candles behave. Like, where's volume usually coming in? So I think this next one here is gonna be a really good one. And it's opening with the hourly. New hourly volume as well, fresh volume. If it wants to move up, then it's gonna break away from this area so it can actually continue moving bullish. If you want to know how far like a price can go, always keep in mind when the new hourly candlestick opens though, because these hourly candles, they kind of have like some limitations. They're gonna push for a little bit, but if it really wants to stretch up there, Most of the time, if you're in a trade and you see like a new hourly open, that's gonna be really nice, really nice. And it works the same way on the 5-minute too. On the 5-minute, if you're trading on the 1-minute time frame, you're trading on the 1-minute time frame and you see a new 5-minute candlestick about to open, then that is like a volume signal. Also with the new 5s, I don't know if you guys have been trading the 5s for a long time, but sometimes you get these new 5-minute opens and they have like really nice pushes in them, so you can anticipate them. Sometimes I even miss the moves. Like they just move too quickly, I can't even catch the move. If it's a 1-minute setup, using 5-minute confluence. Now it's the same thing if you're using a 5-minute setup, using hourly candlestick confluence. You're expecting big moves. So the psychology is a bit different from setup to setup and what you typically would look out for. For the 5-minute, you still get the 5-minute reactions. You can still get those 5-minute pushes. Don't get me wrong. Obviously you can, but when it's in line with like a fresh hourly candle, like you see how we've just opened up a new hourly candle, or we're about to here in the next 10 seconds. We're about to open a new hourly candlestick. That thing is fresh. You know, there's been no moves. 0 moves have happened in that hourly candlestick. So it's ripe of opportunity. Here we go. New hourly has just opened. So it's fresh. It has not had any moves yet. Each hourly candle, I'm expecting to at least give me 1 or 2 moves. So this is pretty nice. Sol is a nice thing to see. That's why we come onto the London session here. When London opens, boom. Try catch that hourly as quickly as we possibly can. Well, that is if the setup is going to be valid. If it's not valid, then, you know, you can't do anything, chat. I can see there are only 2 in YouTube. What is this? Hello, sir. 1 question, please. Did you delete your historical live sessions? Yeah, I did, because, you know, YouTube was giving me warnings and stuff. There was recently a policy change in March. And apparently it only started catching up to live streamers now in June. It's kind of weird. But I don't know why some live streamers have not been affected by it and others have been affected by it. Or maybe it's just going to be like coming towards them later on or something. But yeah, for me and a bunch of other people, like recently we've been hit with this policy change. And I don't know if you've noticed it. It's also on social media, like trading meme channels have been hit with that too. They need disclaimers. I saw Drake posted something the other day about gambling as well. Like Drake was showing his gambling losses. Like it's just all so random that that's all happening now, you know. And I think it's all about transparency, and what they're trying to push is a bit more transparency. So that requires a bit more disclaimers, stuff like this. And that sort of thing. So yeah, that's why I had to remove my videos, but you know, it's okay, it's all right. I'm sure with time everything's gonna be back to normal, so just gotta wait it out. This is like a character building moment, basically. Character building. But new videos are gonna be coming out. They're gonna be like much better quality as well, and yeah, I think it's gonna look good on the channel. So it's nice as well. Just get like a refresh. It's not clocking to you, YouTube. I'm standing on business. Have you seen that Justin Bieber video? It's not clocking to you, YouTube. I'm trying to follow the rules here and you're giving me these warnings. I'm a man. I'm a human being. I'm a father. I'm at the beach. This is also one of the top reasons I never will stream on YT. Yeah, anybody can. You know, the thing is that there's a lot of favoritism on YT, and you know, it's just like a mess. It's a mess sometimes. You can build something for years, have 40 million subscribers, and one day they're gonna say, "Oh, you broke this rule in 5 years ago. You broke this rule. You broke this rule, so I'm taking your channel. 5 years ago, you said this thing, and this thing now, I'm gonna take your channel." That's how stupid policy changes can be. So everything is fine now. Me saying stupid right now is fine. In the next 10 years, maybe YouTube decides I can't say stupid on stream, and it's gonna find the stream and say you broke a rule. Basically, that's what's been happening. That's what's happened with like my previous videos, and they don't tell you why. That's the annoying thing. They never show you why in the video, and if they just did, and then they ask you to remove it, they can easily remove it. We actually can edit our videos off streaming, so if they don't like something in the live stream, you can just cut that piece out. But they don't even give you the luxury of managing your risk like that. They just say you broke this very vague rule, For me, it was harmful and dangerous content. For other people, it might be something else. But even if you go on harmful and dangerous content on their policy, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing here. It has more to do with stuff like, you know, people show the science experiments of like creating bombs and, you know, that sort of thing. It literally has nothing to do with what I'm doing here. So I don't know. It's crazy. Way too much off time on my behalf. I could never show consistently like you do. Yeah, this is like my job. Live streaming is kind of like, it's kind of like a job. So if all I do is just trade, and then I can do trading and have this also go in line with my trading, you know, it's much easier to be consistent. But if you have like a separate kind of business and you're live streaming, it can sometimes mess up with the consistency for sure. That's why, you know, I can sit on here with you guys. We can stream for like 3 hours, 4 hours if I want to, because I'm not doing anything else. As I said, if I was just trading myself, I would have just taken a trade here, 5 minutes, I'm done. Then, you know, like you got nothing to do for the rest of the day. And you're done. YouTube clowning us? Yes. So we're gonna see what happens here, guys. I think the thing is, the more videos I start putting out again, it's like gonna become normal again. That's what I'm assuming. Because this stream I haven't even made a single subscriber in this stream. You know, which is insane. Like my videos, I have no idea how you guys are even finding my videos right now. It's probably because you're subscribed. But you can imagine it's not being shown. Like new people are not able to come into the stream as of now. Until I feed that dirty algorithm, that pesky algorithm, some more videos. And then people will start finding it again. I don't know if you guys type on YouTube live forex trading or live market analysis, can you see my video there? Because I can't. And you know, it makes sense with whatever I'm getting here on my end, so yeah, literally can't find it. It's not there. It's like you're gonna find the most random shit. Gold live chart analysis and trading signals. That's there for some reason. Gold price action live signals. Live crypto trading. I had to look for your video under the carpet and behind the cupboard. Because, let's see, because you are a successful trader, I personally don't get the time consumed by streaming. But I guess it's just me being another point. No, it's just fun, you know, it's fun building a community and stuff. I've always been, you know, the thing about it, it's also a personality thing. It's also a personality thing. I've always been on YouTube, like since like 2012, 2015. I've always been somehow involved in the YouTube space. What's the name of sessions indicator? Kill zones. Thanks, sir. What a pity. Yes. You know, because it's crazy. Right before this happened, we're getting like, we tapped like 700 views and things are getting a little bit more consistent. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, I never complain so much about, or I don't like to complain so much about things that I can't control. So I just focus on what I can control. And yeah, that's just it. So even trades, man, you take a trade, don't focus too much on the profits, because you know that can be very stressful. You know, you want to get these profitable trades, your take profit is all the way up over here, your entries here, but you can't force price to come up there. Same way we can't force YouTube to put things back in order. So the only thing is we can just mitigate our risks, do what it wanted us to do, and just wait for the trade to mature. You know, just taking a bit of drawdown for now. and then have that mature later on. It's okay. I'm happy to have found this community and getting some little stage moments and easily be off again. Yeah, glad to have you here, Tall Trader. I feel like a pro to streaming could be to hold you more accountable. Yes, definitely. No. Yeah, it's just changing how we're doing things just slightly, so this doesn't happen again. That's all. Having the disclaimers in place and all that stuff. So in the future, there wouldn't be any reasons. Turning off the comments. You know what else is a problem? There's a point where there are these like really shitty comments of these like these trick, like some people trying to trick people in the comment section. So I turned off my comments as well. I'm holding all the comments as well. I'm going to review each one and every comment before releasing it. That sort of thing, like just to make sure that the channel is safe and we're taking the right precautions, because it's gonna happen again. This is something that it's gonna affect a lot of people, and it's definitely gonna happen again. I'd get banned as fast as you can say Indiana Jones. You kind of like walking on eggshells, you know, sometimes. I'm not going to be showing YouTube videos anymore. I'm not going to be doing none of that stuff anymore. No FOMC speeches, none of that. Like, literally walking on eggshells. They're going to watch you watching FOMC a year from now and say that something that you copyrighted or something crazy. That's what happens. So we're just going to stick on here on TradingView. We got our Discord community. We got our charts. Just going to keep it simple. Give YouTube zero reasons to come at us, because it's not even really YouTube, it's the algorithm that makes it difficult. Because a person has a brain, just the same way a robot can never replace a human trader. It's because a human trader has some sense of reasoning. You know, a robot cannot reason. It just does whatever it's programmed to do. So a human can give you a benefit of a doubt and that sort of thing. And most of it is just robots. And I guess that's why it's taken from March until June for it to really hit live stream channels, is because there's so much content on YouTube that it takes time. It takes time to go through that content. If you're looking at 500 hours of content a minute, you know, it's going to take a lot of time to catch up to other things. So I think we've survived the wave. You know, like Warren Buffett says, like, you know who's been swimming naked when the wave goes out? I think we've survived the wave and we got our swimsuits on still. We're good. Because some people just got the strike. Some channels just got the strike. I saw this one guy, 280k subs. He's been streaming for such a long time. He had to remove like 90% of his videos and he got a strike. So, you know, I think we're doing something right, because I didn't get one. Still unfair that other channels are still surviving somehow. Don't get that. I don't understand that part of it though. We're all doing the same thing. They're scared of the growth. It's a matrix attack. I listened to him from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. for months, and it changed my whole trade strategy. Yeah, I really like if, you know, stream helps people, give people new insights and that sort of thing. It's really nice. That's a fun part of it. It's just seeing progress and seeing people take the same positions. Let's see if this range here is a valid range. From here to... It could be valid. It could be valid. Let's see from here. Also, the sells could potentially be valid. It's in quite an interesting place. Because you got some room to move up here, and you got some room to move down here. But it's not the biggest room. It's the same thing like, again, what happened over here. Very tight. Very tight. So you might have a bit more volatility in there. But, you know, for Freaky Friday, still haven't got anything. Yeah, we shall pass this phase. True, true. Gotta get through it. You know what they say, where if you're in hell, you just gotta keep going. What's the point of stopping now? Sellers coming, 15-minute liquidity taken, and the hourly is still fresh. It still hasn't had a move. So, you know, the sell would actually be a much nicer option, because that would be like a reflip. Hourly high has been formed. Potential liquidity grabs here that we spoke about on the 30-minute. Sorry, the 15-minute as well. And it will look a lot more nicer with the sells. And the sells usually have a lot more volume. So you're going to get like a hourly reflip and break of the hourly lows for price to continue moving through this level. So that's what I would like to see. Started with school. Okay, this is a definitely a sell looking at the 15-minute. Oh, we got final boss in the chat. Definitely a sell looking on the 15-minute. Yeah, I mean, got a little fakey over here. 30-minute liquidity grab. Just needs to reflip. Needs to reflip and break some lows. Then we're just gonna get a potential move. Get a potential for price to do something. Dun, 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 dun. Freaky Friday needs Diddy at the party. Yes. That Diddy trial still going on. I think, who was recently there? Kanye West was there. Kanye West was there. There's some interesting allegations made on Diddy about. Yeah, I don't want to speak about it. Might get a copyright strike from that from YouTube if I speak about that situation. So I need to be extra careful. Need to be extra careful. No party like a Diddy party. Okay, so GJ, maybe GJ is still moving up here. Because it's done that liquidity thing. But which is also confirmation of a sell down here. 65% hit. You see what I mean, guys? Like, is this a coincidence? Is this a coincidence? Every time we come up to 65%, reaction. That's kind of what you want to see when building a system. You want to see these reactions. Because the more those reactions you see, there's a reason price is reacting off of that level. And it could be a lot of traders taking profits, and there's so many ways that they could be doing this. They could either be doing it off risk to reward or off some other metric like you can't really see, but you want it to make sense for you. So for me, I've noticed 65%, usually we're having like really nice solid reactions from, and it's a really nice way to like manage your trades as well. So you kind of want to gear your trades to all of this reaction stuff, you know, like if price breaks certain key levels, what are you expecting? What's the reaction you're expecting? Big moves, correct? Confirming your entry models. Break of structure, what are you expecting? Continuations and flows. So you're slowly zoning in to where these profitable trades are. So we got here, this was a break of structure over here. Price pulled back for a bit and then started to move up 65%. You know, this one was a break of structure. Managed risk here was about like 50. The risk management on that was about like a 90% risk management. Because when you took a buy here, then your stop loss would have been down here and you'd have reduced it here. You reduced like 90%. Beautiful risk management over there. Sells go hit. Sell confirmation stops above here. 65 reaction. So that's what it is, you know. That's what it is. Like, you're just kind of boxing price into a corner to see like what is happening most of the time. Gotta go. We'll tune into your live for a week. We'll go holiday and enjoy life for a little bit. Thanks, Vic. Or enjoy your holidays, Derek. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. I'm gonna head off here as well. So take care. Enjoy the rest of your Freaky Friday. I will see you all on Sunday for simulation session. Adios, everyone.